It's kind of weird that this took 100 and actually 1 second, real quick. How does my hair look?
That's tell him that's his face.
Does it look good? How does my hair look?
Look normal.
All right, fine. All one shot. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, go.
Dude, I fucking had Tony on one time, and like my hair was like all jacked up for like an hour and a half conversation. And then he takes a photo, like we take a photo with the guest, and then I look at the photo, I was like, bro, I look fucking awful. And Tony's like, oh, I thought you were trying something new.
Thought you were going with that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a TV show. They go to commercial and someone runs by and be like, yo, you look like shit.
Yes.
Fix you up.
Dude, help me. Tell me. Tony's like, oh, I thought you were going for something new. Even if I was, if it looks like shit, tell me. So, dude, welcome. For those that don't know, Kris is a good friend of mine. I'm having you on for multiple reasons, but the number one reason is to talk about like the MMA community, wrestling, fighting. But before we even get into that, for those that don't know, the uninitiated, Kris and I, we trained together. We've cornered one another. I don't think anybody on this planet has hit me in the face more than you. So congratulations, sir.
Which is still not a lie. That's not a... There's I think you can count it on like hands and toes, but
no. We did some fucking rounds at Finney's, man. When I look back on it, it was like a special 1 to 2 years where we were able to really just kind of run with it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, nowadays they're like, because we're at the point now where you've been gone long enough where some people don't know who you are.
They have no idea who I am.
And then there's the people that know who you are, and the people that don't know who you are. I'll be talking to like Eric who knows you, and like. Eric be like, man, didn't you and Arion just do rounds just together? I was like, yeah, when I turned a pro, it was me and Arion. My rounds were Arion. Imagine having to get your ass beat.
And you're an undefeated pro.
Three rounds in a row.
And you're an undefeated pro.
Just getting the brakes beat off of you. Going, hell of a day, boys.
No, I would say... I think what we did was the perfect amount. I mean, obviously, there's no such thing as like perfect. So let me take a step back. I think what we did was we had the 3 variables that you need in good training. Number 1, everyone was technical.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that we were just brawling when we were doing our hard spars, and we were actively working on stuff to where we would talk to one another. You know what I mean? And that was the second one. We had enough ego to where we were competitive, but not so much that we wanted to win sparring.
Right.
So like we would have rounds, and if you caught me with something, I'd be like, hey, that, the feint into the overhand really fucking worked. Keep that up. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to adjust my game. Or I'd be like, yo, dude, I'm really hitting you with this. You keep biting on this feint.
Yep.
Like, that's how I'm getting you. We would talk to one another, that communication factor. And then lastly, we were all in alignment of what we wanted from the sport. Everyone was looking to compete. Everyone was looking to fight. You didn't have like... It wasn't like, you were bringing in a pro fighter and like the guy who comes in for like the Tuesday fathers class. No offense to Tuesday fathers class.
No, just there nobody just there to like hang out or just like I'm just trying to get in shape or let me do a little bit.
Yeah. Me,
work
you,
out.
Nico, Jose. It was just fucking tough round after tough round. And I will say this. I think there was a weird time at Finney's where we didn't have many fighters.
Right.
Because like Stephen Mann had just left, Adam Sella had just left, Rashard Lovelace, rest in peace. Like there was like a lot of turnover. Eric Steenberg had just left to go start his own gym. You know what I mean? So we lost Kendall and a slew of guys. Forgive me. Sorry, the outlaw Austin. Thank you.
Yeah.
CT is a hell of a drug.
Dude, got right there with you.
So
I was thinking about it in my head while you were like, oh.
We had like this weird little moment where we were like, oh shit, like are we gonna lose everybody? But we banded together. I enjoyed that 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah, it was. I tell people all the time like that's when I got really good. As an amateur, I was okay. I had a wrestling background, but I never used it in fights. And I hit really hard for my weight class, but I wasn't good, really. I was good for an amateur, but I wasn't good. And then we started training, and I got a lot better, just from having to get better. Like, you either get better or just keep getting hit a lot. And you're right, though. The way we did it was we weren't there, like, nobody was trying to cause damage to your brain. I have been in some sparring rounds where people are clearly hitting you, 80, 90%.
You're fighting. Fighting.
And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, listen, I have a decent brain. I have a decent job. Like I'm a fucking idiot walking around on the street drooling on myself. I hate going home.
The IT guy walking on his knuckles.
Right, dude. I can't stand going home and feeling like I can't do nothing for the next day because my brain hurts. You know?
And by the way, that's not normal.
No.
Like, you should not. If you had a fight like that, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But that's like once every 3 months, maybe, right? Maybe.
Right.
But if you're talking about it's Wednesday spar day, every Wednesday you can't remember how you got home, that's not normal. It's not good.
And I know there's still, I hope not too many out there. And if you are one of those gyms out there, you should fucking stop. But there's still some people out there that train like that. And listen, everybody needs hard rounds every now and then. I get it. But if you're a pro, if you've been fighting for several years, I don't think you don't need somebody to hit you really hard. What you need is the cardio, the technique, hey, you keep falling for that. Like you said, like there would be things that you would do that I would bite on, and you'd be like, hey, you're biting on this. And maybe I don't even recognize it. Sometimes I do, and I just be like, fuck me, I can't help it. But like that's what makes people better, not damaging their brain.
Okay, so hear me out on this one. Maybe you'll agree or disagree with me. I disagree with that statement because I think you do need hard rounds, especially earlier in the career versus later, because for two reasons. Number one, it'll weed out the guys that aren't cut for this sport.
Yeah.
I hate to say it that way. You know what I mean? But like if you're thinking about you're tiptoeing into fighting, I would rather you kind of get a little pieced up at practice instead of a fight, because we've seen fighters go out there not ready for a fight. Oh, yeah. You can't handle my power.
Right.
And then get fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And at the end of the day, at the very least, if you get like kind of pieced up at practice, it's in a controlled environment. You and I were always watching the spars. How many times did someone get cracked? And I'd be like, okay, you're done for the day. Yeah. And they'd be like, no, I'm fine. I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. You're done for the day. Because it's not the initial, I know you're fine. Now, if you get cracked again, that's the damage. Or worse, if you go in there with like a high volume guy like Eric and he's hitting you like 100 fucking times in a round. Your
head's still doing
your
this.
Head's, yeah, exactly. And you're already, whether it's a minor concussion, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Why risk it for no brisket? You know what I mean?
There's just, even if you're like, this is going to be my life, which, let's be real, most of you, it's not going to be. The majority of you, it's not going to be, But even if that's what you're like, don't take that damage in training. But to your point, yes, when you're beginning or newer into the sport, you do need to get those harder rounds because you need to know what it's like. You need to know,
here's the added variable I'm going to say. The one thing I don't think is good is big sparring rounds. Like I remember earlier in my career, I remember when I went to St. Charles MMA, we would have Sunday Fun Days, and we would have legitimately like 30 to 40 people on the mats. And I mean, it was just basically like fighting. We were all fighting because Mike was there, but Mike was kind of more, focused on the pros and like Sampo and Alp and them, you know what I mean? And then the rest of us were kind of meandering through, not really getting the attention. So, I mean, people were just like ego fighting. I remember the first time I sparred I don't want to say their names. I sparred some guys for the first time and I was like, okay, we're fighting. Like the very first thing they throw is like with bad intentions. So the other thing I was going to say is you can have the tough rounds where you're walking away with some damage as long as you have someone who's running it. That is watching you specifically, watching every round, watching every punch and kick, and then like can see the things. We know a mutual friend of ours got like flash clipped, and I saw his eyes roll back, and then I told him, I was like, "Hey, you're done." Yeah. He's like, "What? What? I'm fine." Like I was like, "Hey," I was like, "I know you feel fine because you don't even remember what hit you." Right. That's the thing. That's the thing I knew. You know what I mean? It's like you have to have someone that can come in and save you from yourself. By the way, I need that because if I'm in those rounds, I'm like, I'm good. Right. I'm good. I need someone to step in and save me from myself.
I mean, that's the crazy part about like, getting concussed or getting dropped. Getting dropped is getting concussed, right? Falling to a knee is you've lost control for a minute.
There's the off balance stuff, but you're talking about separation of consciousness.
Talking about like they like fell on their butt, not because they slipped or you just like hit them off balance or something. Like they fell, they dropped. Whatever that is. I've had it happen to me. I've had it happen to me in training. I've had it happen where you took me home and it's been, to the point where if you talk to me for whatever reason, even though I don't remember it, they'll tell you like, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm okay. Because you're not there, but your brain is saying like, I'm functioning, I'm here, I'm okay. Hell, I woke up in the shower, like not having a clue what happened.
But I would also make the argument that was that day should have never happened, and that is like actually the rare occurrences, because like when you think about how many sparring rounds we would have, me, Nico, you, Jose, and some of the other guys, forgive me, Eric in there, how many rounds did we go, and then how many times would we get hurt? Like when you did that ratio of like amount of minutes, if not hours in the cage, hard sparring, and the amount of times that we had to like, okay, you're done for the day. I would say it's minuscule. Where I've been to gyms where, I mean, it was like every weekend.
Oh yeah,
every weekend was like, you're done, you're done.
We would go forever, and it was always like, in my instance, I ran myself in. I took a shot at a time a kick was thrown. Like I ran myself into something that neither person didn't predict. You know, it was like a storm, right? But it wasn't a we're going too hard type of thing.
There was only one time I went too hard on purpose. I could openly talk about it.
I don't think
he's not even at the gym anymore. You know what's funny?
No.
So when I retired from fighting, I was still coming up on the Wednesdays because I still wanted to run sparring. And I told you guys, I was like, hey, like I'm kind of done. I don't really want to fight anymore. I'm going to concentrate on my professional development. But I still want to come in for the Wednesdays to like help the fighters. And I still wanted to be around, you know what I mean? And in an alternative universe, maybe I'm coaching fighters and I'm not coaching wrestlers, you know what I mean? But when the day happened with Ryan where he was just being like a little bitch and we had to kind of teach him a lesson. When Jesse like was like, no, we got to cut sparring. I was like, why? Yeah. What is the goal here? Like, do you want to be a gym for fighters or not? And I get that you have the soccer moms and stuff. And the argument was that like, we're scaring people away with these rounds. And I would make the argument that we inspired people. Yeah. That when you have people in there doing the damn thing, then when you have the guys taking the trial class or the young kids coming in and learning kickboxing, like cardio kickboxing on the bag, but then on the other side of the gym, you can see the real motherfuckers going at it. You're like, holy shit, I want to be like those guys. I'd be curious to see like how many people stayed and trained at the gym specifically because they were training for us for their fights.
Well, I think you'd be surprised to find out that nowadays, and I know, Jesse still has his same belief that he thinks it intimidates people and whatever. And
by the way, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does intimidate some. But I think it inspires more than it intimidates.
I think if you see people going really hard, or you see somebody getting hurt, right? Somebody getting hurt is probably intimidating to somebody that's never been in a gym where people are actually fighting. Like seeing somebody, get bloodied up or, get
Ryan
dropped.
Was fine. Ryan was fine. He was walking around crying to everybody.
Seeing somebody actually get hurt is probably intimidating. But if you looked at the gym now on Tuesday and Thursday nights, for the 6:30 class, it is basically people that want to fight. And Joe runs it, and basically what they do is they put on shin guards. They both have gloves, and they do like Dutch drilling or light sparring with some technique to start. We're going to work on this, and then let's Dutch drill. Let's light spar.
Flow with a reasoning behind it.
And they switch partners. Those are the people that all want to be in that cage with us on Wednesdays. Those people say, hey, what do I have to do to do rounds with you? And basically, the more I see them there and the more I see that they're ready, I start plucking them and being like, hey, we need a guy like your height for this. Or
let me go a step further. How many people wanted to show up on Wednesdays for class? Wednesday's class was the biggest class, was the most populated class. And how many of it was like people that were never going to fight but wanted to be around it? Yeah. They wanted to be around it. People that would be like just watching us and like they're doing their thing. It's the energy, it's the environment. And it's hard to like coalesce an environment that seems welcoming. Like, yeah, come on in. We have like entry-level people here. Also, the breadth, the range of talent is immense. Yeah. Like you have the starter guy at the far end of the gym working on the bag for the very first time, learning his combinations, 1, 2. And then at the other side of the gym, you have the cage and people are fucking going at it. Yeah. And then you got 3 guys getting ready for their fights 2 weeks from now.
Well, and I thought one of the things we always did really well is none of us were intimidating to new people.
Dude, we were the least. We were the most like commercial gym. We were the most commercial gym.
Good to see you. Is this your first time? Yeah. Hope you come back.
How many times were people help one another? Like dude, I will give Finney's this. Like in some ways, it was like the worst gym I was ever at, but in some ways, it was the best gym I was ever at. Very welcoming environment, structure, the cleanliness, and like the actual like gym itself. You know what I mean? There were a lot of great things about it. The one thing it lacked was like clear structure. After COVID, when Rob got his job and like he couldn't be at the gym all the time, we had this like vacuum, you know what I mean? And we tried our best to fill it as best we could. And I think we actually did a relatively good job, to be completely frank with you. It's just one fucking numbnut idiot who got hurt. And it's like, I was legitimately shocked when he was like, okay, we can't do Wednesday spars. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have Wednesdays back. I think Eric probably told you. We
Too
have,
late now.
Right. We have Wednesdays back.
You lost me.
Yeah. Me and Wayne actually spar on Thursdays. Or Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just
It's
me
like a
and
little
Wayne.
yin yang.
Yeah. Just me and Wayne.
We got him Friday. I can't wait to sit down with him.
He's, you know, Wayne is somebody that's been training for so long. You know, trained with us, you know, got better, trained with us. And he's going to do MMA.
Eric was talking about doing MMA too. Are you
Eric's-
talking to these kids?
Yeah.
Kids. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait, my bad. I gotta watch my
Wayne's
phrase.
a grown man.
Yeah, that's a grown man.
A grown little man, just like me. You bigot. Yeah, I try to, well, because I need them selfishly also for me
you.
sometimes,
Yeah.
you know, like their striking's really good, but I need their grappling to get better so that if I want to grapple, I can, you know, make them make me work. And Wayne is, his grappling's gotten really good. And the thing is, he's just always so in fucking shape.
Dude.
Like his cardio's stupid good.
He's the only guy that I've seen that just like him at weigh-ins makes no sense.
Yeah.
He's got like a 12-pack.
Well, he makes weight by not cutting weight. Like,
Yeah,
he just changes his diet and runs and like the guy
I'm so jealous.
dude.
Genetics, man. We're all created equal in the eyes of the Lord, but not physically.
No. And you know, it's crazy because so me and Wayne went to high school together. So Wayne is a few years younger than me. And I know I felt a little better when I was, you know, a few years ago, but still I was never in like the cardio unless I had
Wayne's
a fight
shape.
coming up. Me and Wayne will do rounds on Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm out of shape trying to get back into shape, you know, and we'll do 2 5-minute rounds. At the end of the second round, I'm done. Like that's what I got.
All right, boys. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. And part of it is because he puts so much pressure on.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's just relentless pressure, which exhausts you.
I love his style of fighting.
Yeah, that's why I want to do those rounds with him is because the pressure's there.
Well, that I was gonna say though, that couple that because the hardest thing in fighting is fighting backwards.
Yeah.
So I think a combination of you're out of shape, but also a combination of like he's pushing you back. If you're the one setting the pace, you can go all day.
Yeah, so we'll finish the 2 rounds, and I'm certain Wayne could do
10 more rounds. Yeah.
without a blink. And I know the difference, and this is what people don't understand. Like you said, pressure makes a big difference. Just coming forward can exhaust somebody because I can do rounds, and Eric has such good striking. I will never take that away from him. Technique-wise, his striking is actually really fucking good. But if we do MMA, I don't feel I can do 3 rounds with Eric.
He told me you can't take him down. He said he can't. he said
Eric,
he's got anti-wrestling.
Anti-wrestling.
He was on the podcast. I was like, what the fuck is anti-wrestling? He's like, can't get taken down.
Can't get taken down.
He doesn't consent.
He doesn't have to consent.
I know exactly what you mean. I remember when I was getting ready for my fights, and I would tell like Nico or I would tell Wayne or I would tell you guys too. I was like, we're gonna go. Like, how many rounds today, Ariana? And I was like, we're gonna go until we can't go anymore. And then Wayne would be like, okay. We would fucking go, I don't know, 10 rounds, 10 5-minute rounds, whatever we had to do. But I always looked at it as, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. You have to have the person in the room that can dictate the dance.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to trust that person.
Right.
Because if you have guys that are like equal, it's hard to say like, let's push ourselves to the limit because it might get competitive. I hate to say this, but like I had, early in my career, I had guys in the room that were like way better than me. And then they would kind of know when to turn it on and know when to pull back to keep it competitive for me. And when you know, Eric or when Wayne and stuff like that, when they were kind of getting into the groove of training with us, like that's what I would do with them. Is like I knew when to turn on, knew when to pull back. When Eric would get a little fucking mouthy, had to kind of chin check him a little bit.
That's never changed.
Yeah, dude, I know. It's I think it's an Albanian thing. We just talk shit. But you do need that stud in the room. It does. A rising tide lifts all ships. I agree with that. But that stud has to also want to do that. Because I've also been in gyms with like motherfuckers who will like come in, work, bounce,
get out. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to have like that perfect storm of like variables to like have like that guy who also wants to coach and do all these things while he's still competing.
Yeah,
it's tough. And I had some training partners throughout my day that did that for me. So I always felt like I owed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Yes,
you are. I'm a foot out the door. I am, I'm gonna do one more. I'm too old, man. It's my body's been abused for all these years of sports and stuff like that. But I do want to go out on a choice that I got to decide. Like, I fought a while back, but it wasn't like, hey, this is gonna be it for me. So I want to go out on it. But what I do is, Eric thinks about doing MMA. All right, we'll do rounds with me. Do MMA.
Let me ask you this question first. The first question I want to ask is, why do you want to do one more? Like, to what end? For what purpose? Have you not done enough?
So I know where you're coming from. Yours is, there's no benefit to it in the sense that there's no other place to go. There's no reason I have to do it, right? I just want to
make sure that if you do it, it's because for like the love of the game, and not because you're trying to like have this inescapable battle with Father Time.
No.
I've met guys that are like one more, and one more turns into like a fucking life-changing, knockout.
I've lost that battle with Father Time. I know it. I'm a competitive guy. It's crazy. I'm a competitive guy to the point where, before if you did something, I was like, no, fuck you. You don't get to do that to me. And now it's crazy going through my head. Like, you can have rounds with me, or if I feel like you're going hard, I'm just like, okay. I'm not just kind of like,
you're becoming an old lion.
Dude, I'll just kind of like let you have the round, and I'm just like, I'm not trying to get CTE tonight, brother. Like, that's not me. Not happening. Not doing it. Before it'd have been like, oh, you want to try? I'll fucking knock your head off. Like, we'll end this now if you want to be like that. But, and I know none of these guys are like that in our gym, but it's just the competitiveness isn't gone, but the killer competitiveness is. I'll be the old guy like playing shuffleboard, like fuck you, I'll beat you in this, But the killer part of that of like, I will hurt you, don't you fucking dare,
How do you battle that? Because I know what you're saying. I too am still competitive, but that competitive nature has now moved on to other endeavors, like in my professional development. Yeah. So like I still, in a weird way, I still kind of have some of that. But I will agree with you where I tell the kids like, at high school, I said to the kids today, because like I was rolling with like the heavyweights today, you know what I mean? And like the guys that will 100% qualify for state. And I mean, I was putting it on them today because like they were talking a little shit. And I was like, all right, hold up. I got to.
You a heavyweight right now?
No, I'm like 190.
No, boy, you so thick you couldn't need a map to find your ass in a one-man outhouse. What are you talking about?
190. Dude, remember COVID? Dude, COVID Arion was my final form.
Y'all don't know this. We came back from COVID. And me and Arion trained, and he took me down, and I was like, hey, you better get the fuck off of me.
Dude, we couldn't do anything during COVID, and then because Libby worked at patios, we basically had the patios bar to ourselves. So for like a year, all we had to do was drink. So I drank more in that year than I have in my entire life.
Me too.
And I'm talking about college, high school, allegedly high school.
Allegedly.
Man. After 21 life, well, it was also super fucking frustrating because if you recall, I had that fight in March with Dylan Tolbert, and then COVID happened. So then, like, Rob was like, we're going to do it next month, like 2 weeks to flatten the curve.
Right.
Like, we're not going to weigh in, but we'll do it next month. And then next month turned into next year, and the next year turned like next year and a half, right? So, like, we just fucking stopped. I remember at the beginning of COVID, you and I were, like, hitting pads outside the house and shit like that. That lasted all of, like, 1 week, and we're like, dude, we're not doing anything.
Yeah, well, it became clear we weren't
we're not
Shit
going
wasn't
anywhere.
changing.
Exactly. So then, like, for like a year, we're like, oh, whatever. When they call me, I'll get to it. And then literally, like, the following month, year and a half, March, or I think April was when it, Rob calls me, like, in January, like, all right, 3 months from now.
135, big boy.
I want to give you as much time as I can. I was like, thanks, Rob. I step on the scale, 209 pounds. That's the heaviest I've ever weighed in my life. For record, I'm 5'8", 5'7" and a half.
It's just like a bowling ball.
Yeah. So, but I cut 60 pounds.
Yeah, you did.
In that fucking 3 months. Do you remember? I've never told this story. Do you remember in the warm up when I was with Nico, and the cut was so hard on my body, I was like, there was blood coming out of my mouth.
Motherfuckers coughed up some blood, and he's like, oh.
And then Nico was like, I fucking miss Nico. Nico goes, brother, that's not good, brother.
It's like,
and I'm just like,
as if he's speaking something everyone didn't know.
Everyone in the room is like, oh shit, Aaron, are you good? I'm like, hey, I'm fine. I just like spit it out. And then Nico's like, brother, that's not good. I miss him so much. You know, he's like a special forces, like, he's
Dude,
legit.
The
now,
last
man.
time I saw him, you know, because he used to look like a fucking Viking. And then he's slimmed down.
Lot,
Well, I mean, you know, the military makes you eat whatever they fucking.
I think he's like a $180, $175.
Yeah.
But he's like 6 foot tall. So, I mean, like, he's skinny. He's never been stronger.
He's a machine.
But anyway, long story short, yeah, I fucking did that shit. 209 pounds down to 135. You know what I mean?
That was maybe one of the wildest cuts I've ever. I know. Well, not maybe. That was the wildest cut I've ever seen in my life.
Dude, that was the wildest cut I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
I had to get Bruna to drive me to weigh-ins because when I closed my hands on my steering wheel, my hands would cramp. So I was like, hey, I can't drive unless I try to drive like this.
Hell no worky.
Yeah, dude. That was also like a very demasculating time for me because every time I cut weight, I was like by myself. It's like I'm doing the hot baths, I'm emaciated, I'm miserable, I'm butt naked, you know what I mean? Like miserable. And then my wife is at home like watching me.
You need help to get through it finally.
Yeah. And I mean that last like 2 pounds, I had to have her like get me out of the bath and stuff because like I didn't trust myself to get up on my own, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like she even told me, she was like, I love you. I love that you fight and stuff like that, but don't do that again. Because I was like, I pushed my body to its absolute limits on that weight cut. And I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot about myself, but I will never do that again.
Oh, dude, that's a once in a lifetime thing. If somebody can do it, you know, most people I think quit out way before that.
And the best part is the cherry on the top is when the fight happened, I didn't even hit him with a punch.
Yeah.
I didn't even hit him with a punch. It was just like I did all this for a fight that was
because you just like hugging people
Yeah.
so much. Listen, I went and hit him for you. I was like, oh, that motherfucker.
And you know what's funny? The term Eskimo brother is where two men have intercourse with the same women. Me and Kris are Eskimo brothers because we fucked the same guy. Shout out Dylan Tolbert. God bless, brother. I love you.
Maybe
I hope you're doing well.
Toughest person I've ever hit, dude. Fucking A.
You hit him
Jesus.
200 times?
To start the second round, I threw 40 punches in 30 seconds, and I landed the vast majority of them. And I was throwing as hard as I could because I was trying to knock him out.
He's just a tough motherfucker.
Tough
really
guy.
Is. That's the other thing.
Bless his brain. Jesus.
I want to take a step back. Forgive me, because I was talking about, this one more fight that you have, Father Time. I don't know how we got into a topic of me losing a bunch of weight. Anyway, my bad. So you have this competitive fire in you, but I don't think you answered the question of, like, why one more?
Yeah.
You're 5-0 as a pro or 6-0?
5.
5-0.
So
feels like a great career.
It's perfectly fine. It comes down to I fought. It wasn't supposed to be like this was gonna be my last one, but then work and all this other stuff was happening.
You've been very successful outside the cage.
I've been busy trying to just with work and stuff. You were gone. Like all of that stuff played into, not getting right back into doing another one. And I've felt like I want to say like this is it. On me saying like I'm deciding to be done now. Whether I lose, whatever happens, I don't really care. I care. Please don't take that the wrong way. I'm a competitive fuck. I care, but regardless of what happens, for me, Like that's it. That's doing it because I wanted to, because I say this is it for me. And I still have that competitive nature to one more time. At 45 years old, go, no man can tell me what to do.
Agreed. But then this is like where the friend in me comes out and I say, this is a young man's sport, and now you're a 5-0 pro. So there's going to be a lot of young up-and-coming kids, licking their lips, looking to kind of take out an old lion on his way out. So, like, my question for you is, and it goes back to, like, why the one more. Let me emphasize why I have such criticism in it, because there's two prongs. Number one, and I said this to you personally, it was like, you're not going to go to Bellator after this. You're not going to go to the UFC. So it's like one more doesn't propel the career anyway. Now, I can respect the fact that you want to go out on your own terms, and I get that. But then I think to myself, at your age, with your record, if you were like 1-5,
right,
you can pick a fucking tomato can and then ride off into the sunset, but you're 5-0. Who are you going to fight? You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say it this way. I don't want to see you fight the 3-0
right,
up-and-coming 20-year-old
right,
stud.
I think, fortunately, I'll have some leeway in that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've let them know, like, hey, this is it, and I've also said, I don't want to, don't give me a fucking trash can. Like, that will never be me, right?
That's why I was like,
that's a waste of time.
You say you're
fighting.
competitive, but that's the thing. Is like, if they give you a trash can, what's the point?
Right. I said,
but they also don't want the stud.
I'm smart enough and I have a good enough brain to know, like, I don't want the other 5-0 guy that he is making that run. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
He is there. Find me somebody that's good, that's competitive. Maybe he beats me. Okay, fuck it. Maybe he does. But like every fight I've been in, I'm going to hit you really fucking hard, and whatever you thought was going to happen might change, and maybe it doesn't. But, I have some leeway in that with Rob and Jesse to be like, get a good fighter. Let's have a good fight. I know they enjoy when I fight, because regardless of what happens, like, I am out there and I'm throwing. I have the ability to just wrestle fuck somebody away. I don't ever use it. Never. I've never used that in a fight. I've never just, like, let me take you down and lay on you. I could, but I don't. I think it's way more exciting. Like, I'd rather separate you from consciousness.
You are what we call in the business a fan favorite.
So, like, if you get somebody good that's willing to stand there and, throw, and if they want to grapple, that's fine. That's a terrible idea for them, but we can do that. But
are you going to fight again at 25 or bump up to 35?
35.
Yeah, because now
that's
the other thing.
25,
it's like,
man.
if we're not looking for the next step, if we're not looking for then what's the point?
No, I ain't making 25.
Yeah. What do you walk around at now? 50?
58.
Don't fucking tell me.
Listen, you know what? I stopped. But there was a period where I didn't lift weights at all. I just stayed oddly strong for my size.
Well, you wrestled.
Yeah, and like
I think wrestling's the best form of lifting
moving,
weights.
Nico and Jose and you, like, moving you guys around kept me strong.
For the record, Kris, give some context. You're like walking around with $140. The closest to your weight would be me, and I was walking around like $160. Then Jose would be like walking $170. Nico was like 190, 200, 210, and you'd be doing rounds with all of us.
Yeah.
So like you'd be doing rounds with me, who's got 20 pounds on you, up to Nico, who's got 60, 70 pounds on you. So give yourself some credit.
Plus, I was old.
Yeah, and you were old.
No, so I started actually lifting when there was a period where I wasn't training, hardly at all, like very hard. I started lifting, and I knew this would happen, which is why I didn't lift. But I got stronger and got bigger and blew up, and I was like, oh shit! If I am going to fight, like, I can't lift. I can't do both. I get bigger still, even at my age, for God knows why. Genetics, I guess.
God has to give us something.
Yes.
God has to give us something.
Small PP, small height. Give me strength, Lord. Whatever it was.
It's a small hammer, but a hammer. Let me take that question then to the next. After this one, inevitably you say you're done. Do you want to coach?
I'll still be training, just in a different way. Like, I won't be training for me to fight, but Eric still needs rounds. I'll tell you who I really enjoy actually doing rounds with is Scarlett.
His girlfriend?
Yeah. You know what? Talk about a girl that can kick. Holy shit.
Really?
Oh my God, dude. The first, for context, I stand southpaw when I fight. My right leg can take a lot of damage. Doesn't really bother me. Well, for Scarlett's sake, most people she'll see is orthodox, and I'm actually right-handed, so standing orthodox doesn't bother me either. I stand orthodox for Scarlett. When she first started training for a fight and she kicked my left leg, I almost switched stances and said, fuck this, we're not doing this.
That bad, huh?
Dude, I don't know what it is. Her ability to like put her shin on your thigh and have it like not just hit the meat, which is what most people do somehow. It like digs into the bone. It's
shit, Scarlett.
Dude, it's bad enough that Eric will just stand there and like be like, no, you're not gonna guy. He will like he's like doing some Muay Thai dance, being like, fuck that. I mean, there are some grown men in there that she has kicked. And they are just like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, yeah, I tried to tell you.
Good for her.
Not only can she do that, but
is she looking to fight?
She fought once.
I know she fought, but I'm saying like, is she looking to be a fighter? Yeah. Sorry, is a better question.
I don't know. She's gonna fight again.
Yeah.
I know that. And
she had a good performance.
She did. And there's a couple things could change and make her, finish that fight probably. But her head kicks are really good too. She lands those a lot. But I actually like doing rounds with her because it's not too hard, right? She doesn't, and not that she can't hit hard, but as a girl, she just doesn't hit as hard. So that's fine. She can kick me in the head randomly, but she pulls it. So I can do rounds with her a bunch, and she feels good about it because I can talk to her about things as they're happening, and I feel fine after all the rounds. Nothing hurt. Nothing feels bad. She could hit me 800 times, and I think I would be like, okay, fine.
Yeah. So to answer the question though that I asked is, do you want to coach? Do you want to coach after you're done fighting? You've told me that you will still train, but to a different capacity, but that's not the same as coaching. So you don't want to coach?
I don't know if I have the time to say like I am a coach. Yeah. Like I will be here every night.
You want to reserve the right to not be present.
Yeah. If I say like if I commit to that, here's the problem. I have been playing a sport or fighting for the vast majority of my life now. Yeah. I've never. During COVID was probably the first time like work ended, and I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, what is all this time? Like, it blew my mind that people that didn't have like 2 kids or a kid would finish work and be like, oh, I just don't have time to do anything. What the fuck do you mean? You don't have time to do anything? Work would finish, and I'd be like, what? I don't go to bed till midnight, so
I'm a father. I'm telling you right now, there's time.
Yeah,
there's time.
So I've never traveling is something I started to do more of. Do
you like traveling?
Yeah, I like going places I've
never been to,
not been to.
I wish I cared about it.
You know what it is? I honestly like going to a beach somewhere.
All right, I'm with you.
It's not. I don't really give a shit about
going to the mountains.
Yeah, like listen.
I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you now. Yeah,
If you can tell me like just chill on a beach
with a beer,
with some music, and just
I'm your man. Okay, so but that's not traveling. That's vacation.
Yeah, vacation.
Okay. All right. I'm down with you on vacation. My wife is like, "Do you want to go somewhere?" I was like, "Where?" She's like, "I don't know." And I'm just like,
there's a few places I would like to see, maybe like that I would like to see.
Okay, destinations.
Yeah. But the idea of let's travel in my itinerary is just like brump. Like that's I'm not relaxing.
Yeah, you mean like we're gonna be here at 1 and then we're at 4 o'clock. We're doing if you need an itinerary, I'm out.
Yeah.
We're planning a trip next year. We're gonna go to do like a Europe trip. We're gonna do like three days here.
There's a lot of shit to see, man.
Yeah. But like I told Bruna, I was like, if we do this, pick like 4 cities in 4 different countries, like maybe Rome, maybe Athens, we'll pick those. And we're going to do a week there each. What I don't want to do is like 2 days here, 1 day there, 3 days there. Fuck you. I'm not doing that shit. You know what I mean? So like if we go, pick your 4 cities. We'll be there 5 days minimum each place because I want to be able to pick up, place my shit, relax for 3 days, pick up, place my shit. And then we're going to end it with like a week and a half or whatever in Albania to see family and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But that's what I wanted to do. And to be frank, I hate that I'm saying this out loud like this. I could not care less about seeing these places in person. I don't know if it's because I'm a fucking computer baby and that I can just
Neanderthal.
like maybe, or even that. But like I don't know how to explain it, man. I don't care in the way that like my wife is like, don't you want to see these places? I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. I not really. And if I wanted to, I can get on like some VR goggles,
Just
click
fucking
Rome, and be
start
like, here we are. You know, I hate to be that guy, but like, it's just not as majestic or as, you know, serene. There's gonna be a bunch of people that watch this and they're like, Aaron, you're an idiot. Maybe I am. I just don't have that.
Early CTE.
No, I've always been like this. I've always been like this.
Always been an idiot.
Yeah, dude. You talk about that. I worked, school,
Yeah.
gym. That was my life. And I, by the way, loved it. Loved it.
There are some places that I would like to see, but it wouldn't bother me if
What's
I
the
don't.
number one?
You know what's crazy? That idea of like your favorite of stuff, I'm awful at. Like,
Yeah.
what's your favorite this, or you know, what would you do if this? Fuck you, I don't fucking know. I don't think about
Okay,
things
give me
in
your
that
top
way.
3.
There are things that I enjoy doing and things that I won't do.
Okay.
But there's hardly any like favorites for me for anything. I don't have favorites for hardly anything.
Give me your top 3. The wall in Jerusalem.
Yes. So I can go whale.
Put your hand, wear a tiny hat.
I got a whale. Isn't that what it is? It's a whaling wall? Is that what it's
Yeah.
Somebody
Is that
tell me
what it's called? The whaling wall?
I don't know. Is there another
that
wall
what
that
it's
you wail
called?
at? I think it's like a wailing for them, like crying.
Oh.
Like maybe it's not crying.
I don't know, I just see everybody touch it and they're like, they bow their head. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't want to get. Yeah, I don't want to get on a bus and like
We have to go see
get
our
blown
greatest
up or
ally,
something.
for sure. Yeah.
That always frightens me. Same reason I wouldn't go to some other places.
There's
like
a lot of places.
South Africa.
You know
wouldn't go
what? Now that you put that up, there's a lot of places I wouldn't go to.
Yeah.
All of like South America outside of like Cancun.
Right.
And
Outside
only
of the
because
places where the
cartels-
cartel runs.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's completely safe so they can launder their money.
Exactly.
If you all didn't know this, the cartels run the resorts in Mexico.
All of them.
Because that allows them to launder their money.
And what is laundering their money?
The resorts are very safe because if they lose the people visiting, then they lose the ability to launder
First
their
of all,
money.
they don't lose. Second of all, laundering money is where you mix in money made illegally with money made legally, and you wash it in the sense of you mix it together, so it's harder for anybody to deduce
And
where
like a
that income
Kenmore.
came from. So it's like, you know, let's say the resort makes $1 million in a month in revenue. And then you take $1 million made from outside sources.
Not
you,
boats.
Yeah, you take that $1 million and you use that $1 million and maybe you pay these people in cash or whatever. Then you take the $1 million that you made legitimately and you deposit that in the bank account. And this is like just one of the easy high level ways of like laundering money. But to your point, I've never felt more safe when I travel than when I go to Cancun because I'm like, my wife is like, oh my God, this neighborhood is good, like rough. And I'm like, don't worry, like we're passing through where everybody lives.
As long as we get to the resort.
And then we get to the
we are
resort,
safe.
and that thing is like a lockdown, and they're like, "You're good now." Anyway, sorry, I got dark. So I outside of like the resorts in Mexico, I'm not going to South America, and everyone's gonna be like, "You guys sound so, you know, it's not that dangerous here." I got a 3-year-old, I got a wife, and if I can't take my guns with me, I don't feel safe.
I've been to Mexico City for work twice.
Yes, you have.
I went to Mexico City for work. What was wild is as they're talking about who has to go, there are people left and right of me going, yeah, no, not going. And I'm like, work,
Can't be
man.
that
Like,
bad.
can't be that bad. Yo, it is that bad.
Right.
Like, so I show up. Our office happens to be, our hotel room and office happens to be right by the U.S. Embassy. And that is the only reason the area I was in was remotely safe. Because the U.S. required that the Mexican Marines patrol the area and not the police. And I'm walking around with a guy who looks like he's straight out of SEAL Team 6.
Yeah.
Got tall guy, beard, looks all the part, but he's just a coworker. Funniest thing, because he's like, people are moving out of the way for this guy because he looks the part of like, don't fuck with me. But he turns around and he goes, hey, listen, I just want you to know if shit pops off, you're
I'm
fighting.
not your guy. I'm not your guy.
But we walked by our hotel
least he's
at
honest.
night. Our hotel at night has a security guard with a shotgun and one with an AR standing outside at night. And I walk up and I'm like, oh, it's that bad?
Thank God.
And I'm walking by them, and I was like, hey, how's it going? Have a good night. And they're like, American, hey, come here. And I was like, oh, shit. And I went over to him, and he goes, hey, don't take a taxi. I was like, what?
He said? Yeah.
He's like, don't get in a taxi. Not safe for you. They might take. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, there's ample stories of that, and it's not even just in Mexico, but in Thailand, in any place where an American tourist will go, and there's two variables: an abundance of cash and then an abundance of ignorance.
Yeah.
They don't understand the culture. They don't understand how easy it is for them to get taken advantage of. I have a buddy who went over to, I don't want to say the country because I don't want to badmouth the country. He did some traveling abroad. He went to a country in South America and was robbed. He went to a bar. A hot girl came up to him, started macking on him. He thought he was the shit, started buying everybody drinks. I guess she saw how much cash he had on. She's like, do you want to go somewhere? Like, I'll go back to your place. And then, of course, she's being followed by like 3 guys, and they get up to the hotel room. As he's unlocking the door, the guys rush in, guns drawn, give us your cash. And he gave him like $1,000 in cash, and they bounced. Yeah, straight up robbed.
Listen,
to their credit, they were he said
very professional.
They said they were very nice. As soon as they gave him the cash, they like lifted him up, patted him off. They said, you're good. We won't kill you. And then walked away. And then he's like, okay, guess like, could you imagine? Like, you think you're about to get lucky with this like 10 Brazilian
right.
Oh no. South American girl.
Listen, there's Brazilian women all over like Mexico and stuff too. You know Mexican people in general like hate other Latin American people.
Brother.
Like Argentinians, like
if you think racism is bad in America,
man,
do
they're
some
wild.
traveling.
They are wild.
Yeah, and you know what's funny too is like the racism is usually best kept within your own race. So like even Albanians, they'll be like, oh, like Albanians from the village or Albanians from the city, and they're like these villagers, you know, they don't fucking know.
They don't fuck goats.
It's like
they're not good enough.
It's just the most prevalent classism, I would say, not necessarily racism, but classism. And you're just thinking to yourself like, motherfucker, you're all the same people. Like you're literally, you know, a 1 hour drive away from one another, but like those people over there, they're not as civilized as we are.
Have you ever heard somebody from Louisiana talk shit? No, come on,
No,
what the
dude,
fuck
someone
are
from
you talking
Boston
about?
and like someone from California. You're getting 2 different Americans. Oh my God, sorry. So we were talking about you possibly coaching. So the reason why you wouldn't necessarily commit to coaching was because you can't necessarily commit to the schedule.
Yeah, I can't. And I feel like if I commit to something like that, then I should be there, right? If I say I'm going to do it, then I need to be there. If I tell you like, hey, I'll coach, and then you show up and Kris isn't fucking there, like that makes me kind of feel bad. Like you're putting in the time, you know, you're showing up and I'm not.
Well, you want to be a man of your word.
Yeah. So, you know, it's better for me just to say when I'm here, if you want something, let's do it. You want help? You want mitts? You want sparring? You want me to watch you spar? Like whatever it is, here's when I'm here. You know, if I'm not going to be here, I'll text you. I'll let you know.
What does it feel like to be at this part of your career? Like I know you still got one more to go, but this is the twilight. This is like the last dance, quote unquote, right? I'm curious. What are some of the emotions? What are some of the thoughts? Do you do a lot of time reflecting? Do you?
Oh, my introspective man. No.
I mean, like, I'm not trying to be like super sensitive or anything like that.
No,
but like,
I don't really think about it.
Yeah.
I don't. I guess I'm just not that kind of person, right? I don't really sit and be like, oh, this is it. You know, I just it feels fine. It feels okay. I feel like, you know, when I got out of college, the lowest weight class was 135.
College wrestling.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even think they started the 35 yet. No, they started the 35 like a year or two after I got out of college. So the lowest weight class was 145. Fighting was never even in my vision of things that I would do. So, you know, they started 35 finally a couple of years later, and that was still, I was small. I was wrestling at 125. You know, I'm walking around at like 130. So that was never anything in my eyes. And they didn't have my weight class, so I didn't even start fighting until I was 30, almost 32. You know, I didn't even start fighting until then. So I never made myself believe something that wasn't true. I was going to be as competitive as I could be and do all those things, but I never had this, like, I'm going to make it big in the UFC. I was 32 starting as an amateur. Like, you have to be realistic with yourself. And I'm always a realist in everything I do, you know?
And it's a different story if you were like, because you did amateur wrestling, and if you would have done like amateur boxing or something like that,
Right.
then that transition over like, you know, like Alex Pereira when he comes into the UFC at like what, 34, 35, but he's also fought since he was 14, right?
Right.
It's a different story because you wrestled in high school, in college, and then you took some time off, and then you kind of happened onto fighting.
Happened into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Happened into all of it, you know? And there's just I've never misled myself about what I'm doing. I fight because I enjoy the competition. I enjoy the fact that I can physically assault another man and they can't stop me.
Can I add a different paradigm to it too? Learning martial arts, and I consider wrestling a martial art, but learning martial arts finally gave me not the confidence, but more than anything, it eliminated the anxiety of being, because I'm an average male, like average height, average everything. Like I'm not like I can't run faster than I'm not above average speed. I'm not above average explosiveness. I'm not.
That's not what the ladies say.
Hey, I'm a quick man. But like martial arts, I remember when I was in high school, I before I started wrestling or whatever, I was like kind of scared if someone started something with me because I'm the smaller guy in the room, and I don't really know how to defend myself. Wrestling gave me some of that confidence because at the very least I knew that like, hey, if I could take down the heavyweight wrestlers, I could take down these bigger guys that don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? And then that natural progression from wrestling to jiu-jitsu to fighting, now at my age now at 33, I am very confident that I can defend myself, at least hand-to-hand combat, against the majority of humans that exist.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Y'all watch YouTube videos? Oh my god.
Yeah, most guys cannot fight. Exactly.
Dude, the vast majority of people
and
have
even half
no
the guys
idea
that
how
can
to fight.
can't fight well.
Yeah.
So, but it was always like a byproduct. Like it happened. It wasn't like something I was striving for. It just kind of happenstance, like by proxy happened. But I will say that, like, you know, when you talk about competition and stuff like that, did you feel something like that as well? Did you ever have the anxiety of being like I'm not physically superior than any of these guys, and if someone wants my lunch, I want to be able to keep it.
I am to this day 5'4". Like, never was a giant. You know, never was an intimidating person, and I've always
was
been
on the internet.
Yes, tell your mom about it. I've never was an intimidating person, or I've always been a really nice person outside of fighting or, you know, even wrestling as I got more into it. I've always just been a nice person, you know? So I didn't have that. People throughout me being younger, until like high school when sports started being like, oh, you're an athlete and people started recognizing you. Until that point, man, if somebody was trying to show other kids that they were tough, they could like, oh, let's pick on Kris. Let's do this to Kris. You know, hey, bring back bullying, makes kids tougher.
You're not wrong.
Like, you want to know what made me tougher, and not only tougher, better personality. Because some of the ways to disarm some of that was just to humor and make fun of people till everybody else was laughing. And what are they going to do now?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna allow them to beat you up.
The only variable that I add to that is the bullying now is different level.
Yeah. They have the
back
internet
when the day
and
when
stuff
we
like
got
that.
bullied, it started and ended at school.
Yeah.
Now,
the internet.
Oh my god,
the internet's a wild.
Scares
place.
the shit out of me for my daughter. But anyway,
Yeah. So
to your point about like learning martial arts.
Yeah, I never felt that I could, and then I started wrestling, and I was like, oh, okay, like, you can say whatever you want, but now I know that you couldn't stop me.
The other thing too is because of weight classes, wrestling can stay competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a $125 and you get on the football field, have fun, or you get on the basketball court, have fun. But in wrestling, you have this like weight class system that makes it so like, okay, if you're 120 or 150 or 170, you're going to be in there with other 120s, 150s, 170s. It stays competitive.
Which brings me to cross country. Fuck you guys. I ran cross country one year.
It sounds awful.
During high school. You want to talk about something that needs classes to stay competitive?
That?
Height classes. Fuck you, tall motherfuckers. I ran cross country. These motherfuckers would take like one step. They'd be like striding out the fucking race. And I'm behind them like sprinting to go the same distance. And that's when I realized, first of all, cross country did not get me in the shape for wrestling that I thought it would.
No, it's just pure running.
Yeah, and it was not like sprinting. Second of all, yeah, they need height classes to even that shit out because seriously, the longer you run, your body like shapes into this leaner person that's more efficient. Somebody who might, like me, not efficient at all. It was so infuriating watching people that I could out sprint all day long, just glide
you
past
picked the
me.
wrong sport, my dude. Out sprint.
Oh, yeah,
Isn't cross country like you do like 5 mile runs?
It's 3 point.
Fuck that.
3.2.
Whenever people tell me to go run, I'm like, that's why I learned how to fight, and I have guns. I don't run from anybody.
I did it 1 year. One of the other, actually one of my best friends in high school. Him is 3 brothers. And they all ran cross country, and they're like, Kris, you should run cross country to help you get in shape. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. About halfway through the season, when our coach would be like, all right, go run, and we could just run around by the school. And I went to Pattonville, so we were out by Creve Coeur. Man, one time we just ran to the pumpkin patch and stole some pumpkins and came back with them. He's like, where the hell did you get the pumpkins from?
How do you even coach cross country? Like, what do you do? Teach kids how to run?
Yeah, I mean, shit, I'm trying to remember back, but I didn't pay attention, so probably why I wasn't a great cross country runner. But they would do like drills and stuff, like different things to improve your times and things like that.
I'm so ignorant to other sports, dude. I watch like the basketball coaches and stuff like that, and I think to myself, like, I know how to run like a wrestling practice, and I can teach the kids like wrestling, like positions and stuff like that. Then I watch other sports, and I'm like, how do you guys even practice? Like football, basketball? What do you guys even do? Track, soccer? I don't even know. Like, what do you do? Just kick the ball around?
Dude,
I'm so ignorant to sports. I'm so sorry.
And I played every sport. Like growing up, I played every sport. I played hockey
up until about high school.
Yeah, no.
And then everyone else was like,
I'll wrestle. Dude, I played hockey until high school, and then people just kept on. And also, at my school, hockey was a club that required you to pay for ice time and all this other shit. My parents were like, hey, yeah, get a fucking job.
Yeah.
I was
same at Afton. Like the ice hockey team is like separate, I guess, because it's so expensive.
And I worked, but I couldn't afford that shit.
You know what's crazy too? One of the more expensive sports in high school is swimming because of the pool.
The pool time.
To maintain the pool and everything, it's actually a lot of fucking money. So, fun fact. We've established the possibility of a future. The last question I have pertaining to fighting is, and you've kind of answered this a little bit, but is there any part of you that is frustrated at how you started your career? Do you ever look back and wish that you would have started younger? I don't want to say like there's like the what ifs or like, I don't want to say that you have like regrets, but it's more like, do you ever look back and say like, man, what could I have been if X, Y, and Z?
Yeah. Yes. Like you said, I don't have regrets. I don't have regrets. I have, man, I wish I could have been like some of you and come out of college and start. When I came out of college wrestling, like I was a fucking animal, like an animal. I was in shape.
Where'd you wrestle
peak. I went to, very first started was Merrimack with Mirikitani and then Mizzou. And I still, the best wrestling I ever got was old man Mirikitani, Ron Mirikitani. The best coaching. I learned the most there. He would walk by and be like, hey, move your hand a half inch up over there. And you'd be like, oh, okay. And it works. Like it was wild. And he was fun. He actually made me do judo one time. I did a judo tournament. I had no idea how it worked. I was in college wrestling, and he's like, yeah,
you should go do judo.
Do a judo tournament. It was a tournament. And he's like, yeah, you just take people down, and if you take them down to their back, you win. And it was me and Jason High did it. You
just go for blast doubles?
Yeah, just going for blast doubles. Jason had an amazing blast double back then. And we both get into the finals, and the guy that I'm in the finals with of this judo tournament realizes that we're just taking people down to their back. So he just turtles up every time I like go for a shot. And I get pissed off finally, and I just kind of like Boston crab him. I grab his chin, I stand over his back, and I just arch back and lift his chin up. He taps out immediately. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I won. I got disqualified. You're not allowed to like Boston Crab somebody. Apparently, that's totally illegal.
This is like, congratulations, you lost.
Yeah, my coach was like, yeah, you can't do that. I was like, well, he
No
tapped.
one told me that.
It looked like a submission to me.
Everyone at the tournament's like, this isn't a judo tournament. They're like, haha, joke's on you.
Yeah. Also, that kid went out in an ambulance. I don't know why he wasn't that hurt. I think he was playing it up.
Playing the game.
Yeah. So, you're like, it. Yeah, if I could go back and start when I was younger, I would have had more belief that I could do something with it. But also, I would need the right people around me too. You know, I'd never been in a fight for real, like a legitimate fight,
Like street fight.
Yeah, like I didn't hit people. You know, I talked my way out of that shit. I had big friends around me because I was the funny fucking guy. You know, like I never been in a fight.
Never had to fight.
Yeah, I never had to fight. And people, you know, people at school tend to like me. So I never fought anybody. The only real fight I'd ever been into was in college, and it was because again, I lived with Jason High, who if a lot of you people probably don't know, he ended up going into the UFC. But me and him lived together for a little bit, and we went to a party, and you know, it was out in like Farmington or somewhere. It was like a bonfire, and somebody started using racial slurs and stuff like that. Anyway, a fight started. There was like 3 of us and a whole bunch of other people throwing bottles and stuff at us. That's the only time I've legitimately hit somebody, and I did it because I thought I might die.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never been in a fight. Yeah, I'd never been in a fight. So I started fighting and having never been in a fight, having no idea what like hitting somebody really was.
It's wild.
So, but if I could have started right out of college, like, yeah, that would have been. I think I could have been a lot better. I think my technique could have been a lot better with striking. But
well, you have a good mind for the sport. For someone who quote unquote started late and everything, you're the one person whose opinion at Finney's that I respected.
Yeah, I think I'm just fortunately one of those people that. And I
no offense to everybody else at Finney's. Forgive me. You were the only person.
You all suck.
You're the only person I had a conversation with. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, you know, I tell people, and I'm honest with people there today. You know, I never was, and I don't think I ever will be like a technical striker. It didn't fit my style. I can hit really hard for my weight class. Whatever I do works for me somehow. I couldn't explain it. It just does, and it works. I'm not a technical striker, but I can tell you the right way you should be doing it. I know what's the right thing to do. I just don't do what I do.
Well, no. There's a sweet science to that too. It's like when you're coming up, you want to learn the orthodox way of combat because you do want to learn the how to properly roll your shoulder, how to keep your hands up. These are the things that we will rely on when shit hits the fan, no matter what your fighting style is. However, then you get to this like point where you get so comfortable with distance, with time management, with explosiveness, with feints that you can then start to your adaptation of your style will be a direct reflection of how comfortable you are in the ring. And how comfortable you are in the ring is a direct correlation to what you feel like you no longer have to do. Now, I'm not trying to tell anybody that you should like fight with your hands down or anything like that. But Roy Jones Jr. was one of the boxing savants, and he would fight sometimes with his hands by his hips, right? And it's like at the end of the day, I always tell people, this is like something I say in wrestling, but it's like it's for martial arts as well. I'll show you everything I know. I'll show you all my jabs, all my crosses, all my takedowns, everything, all my submissions. I'll show you everything I know. And then you will pick and choose what works for you, your frame, your athleticism, and your style. Like you will pick and choose. But you should know that these things exist. To know something and choose not to use it is completely different from not knowing something.
Right. And also at least try it. Because you don't try it, then you don't know it doesn't work. You know, like there's a lot of shit that doesn't work for me in jiu-jitsu, like anacondas or darces, because I got fucking short ass arms, and I don't know how these motherfuckers ever reach around like that. It doesn't work for me. You know, it just doesn't. So, but I know how to do it.
Yeah,
I think that's for fighting too.
I hate to ask this, and I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I know that during COVID, like one of the reasons why you haven't fought is getting back into the groove of things, right? And I know that during COVID, a little history lesson here, boys, the Biden administration actively tried to pass an executive order. Well, they did pass an executive order. They signed an executive order essentially saying that if you did not get a vaccine by so-and-so date, that you could not work at certain places. I believe the
Companies
threshold
over 200.
was, yeah, I think it was actually over 50 employees, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember
Maybe,
what it
but it was basically like if your company had over a certain number of people, and it wasn't a lot, everybody in that environment had to be vaccinated, or else they had to be terminated.
Mm-hmm.
That issuance was like, I believe, I might get the dates wrong on this one, but it was like March of like 2021, and the Supreme Court went until, I think the deadline for this was like October 15th, and then like the Supreme Court had to get involved because this was like unconstitutional. There's HIPAA laws, there's all these things, you know what I mean? I remember that your work at the time like was like, hey, you need to go get this shot or we're going to fire you. So you went and got the shot. And I believe it was like 2 weeks later, the Supreme Court came down and said, like, this is like unconstitutional. You can't do this. And like basically everyone was like, okay, like no longer mandatory, right? But it was too little, too late for you. And you actually had adverse side effects because of the vaccine.
Terrible.
Do you want to, first of all, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's something I don't say too much about. You know, I don't tell, a lot of people are like, well, you had a big, like a gap in there where you didn't really do anything. But yeah, my work basically said, you know, you have to get this shot because of this law. I don't think they would have forced it otherwise.
It wasn't a law. It was an executive order.
Because of
I say
the
that
punishment,
because
basically. They were going to get a punishment if they didn't.
They were
going to
get fined.
Yeah, and so they're like, we can't have that. You have to get this. And I tried to make an argument like, right, I think we had both caught COVID not too long before that.
Yeah.
You know,
the whole house.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, listen, I just had it. And they're like, no, you have to get this. So I get the COVID vaccine, and you know, within a day, I have bad headaches, which is what kind of people were getting. Like some people were getting like this kind of symptom of COVID, like a bad headache or whatever. And I get migraines every now and then, not like most people that get, you know, migraines all the time. I get them, you know, every 2-3 months, and they can be pretty bad, but not all the time. So it's okay for me. And it felt like I was getting a migraine every day for like 20 hours. Not like a normal migraine that would go away if I slept or some time passed or anything. It was every day for like 20 hours to the point where I actually it got so bad. I think I was coming home talking to like a mutual friend on the phone, and like I was not able to function. Like I barely parked the car. I was trying to get into the door, and she's like, Kris, go to the hospital. Like, this isn't right. And I went up to the hospital. The wild thing is, I know you and my sister showed up at the hospital, and the doctor in the hospital is basically like, this isn't related to COVID and the COVID shot. And I'm like, yo, brother, how not? I just got the COVID shot. This is happening.
So before he's even trying to discuss or diagnose, he is already coming to the conclusion that I know for a fact it's not because of this.
Yeah, he asked a couple questions, if anything had changed or anything like that, and I was like, nothing's changed at all. The only thing that changed for me is I did get the COVID shot within the last 24, 40
And he was like, well, it's not that.
And he immediately goes, well, it's not the COVID shot. This isn't one of the things that happens. And I was like, okay, well, as a person that has got migraines, this isn't a migraine. Like, I know my symptoms, the things I see when I get a migraine, the way I feel, I know that, and I know how to deal with that. This isn't a migraine. This is like, take one of my bad migraines and multiply it times 100. I was like, if you told me you could just stab a hole through my head, I'd be like, okay, please do, because it felt so bad.
The pressure.
Yeah, it felt so bad. And, not only did that happen, and I also found out what anxiety feels like. I don't have anxiety. I've never known when someone's like, I get really anxious. They gave me something to help with the pain, and I'm sitting back there, and because of COVID, like, Ariane's not able to come back. My sister can't come. I'm just sitting back there.
That was the most frustrating part. Me and your sister just basically like we're at the hospital because we want to be there for you because like
nobody
Kris has a high
on.
tolerance for pain. So like for Kris to have to go to the hospital, it's serious. So we're there to like support and be there. We couldn't go see you. We couldn't even talk to you. Like the doctor was like, you guys can wait in the hall.
Yeah.
So like we're just like texting Kris. We're just hanging out. And me and your sister are just like, I don't think they're gonna let us see him. Like,
Yeah,
do we just go home?
they don't let anybody back there, and I'm sitting there, and the pain, and I get migraines, and I tend to not take anything for them because I can just lay down, I can sleep it off, even though it hurts really bad. I don't like to take medication if I don't have to. But this was so bad I couldn't function. And so they gave me something for the pain. And after about 20 minutes, I start to get this, like, I need to get up. Like, I need to do something. I can't lay here. I have to move. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get up and go pee. So I just, like, disconnect myself from stuff and walk out and go to the bathroom.
Everyone thinks that you flatlined.
The things start going off. I come back. The lady's like, yo, what the hell? And I was like, I had to get up. I had to pee. I couldn't sit here anymore. She's like, let me get the doctor. He comes back in and he goes, are you feeling anxious, anxiety? And I go, I don't think so. I've never had anxiety. And he goes, well, it's a side effect of the painkiller we just gave you. And I was like, maybe you should have told me that beforehand. I spent the next 24 hours not being able to, like, sit still because I felt so anxious. I still have it written down what the drug was. It's some long name I can't remember, but I have it written down because I will never take that again.
That bad?
I had to call my sister who does have anxiety, and I was like, what is wrong with me? Will this go away? Am I stuck like this? I couldn't sleep.
You ruined me.
I was like, okay, I'll distract myself. I turn a TV on, turn a movie on. About 10 minutes in, I was like, I got to get up. I'll go for a drive. I don't want to drive anymore. I got to get out of this car. Like, I couldn't function. Wow. It was terrible. Now when someone says I have bad anxiety, I'm like, I bet. Sounds awful.
And it sucks because all of this was spurred on because of the COVID shot. So walk me through this. So, like, what? You spent 24 hours at the hospital, took the pain medication, and then what'd they say? Like, what's the outcome of all this?
They gave me some really strong, like pain medication to take whenever I would get a migraine, or he called it a cluster headache, and I was like, okay, something I've never had in my life. So this went on for over a week, I think.
Did he deduce what it could have been spurred by?
No, he said it was probably just. He said it's probably just people that get migraines sometimes just have multiple migraines, and I was like, okay, so every day for 2 weeks, for 20 hours. Like, the only time I didn't have a migraine was when I was sleeping, and I only thought I didn't have it, or migraine, a headache. The only time my head didn't hurt was when I was actually asleep, which was for a few hours a night. Every time else was just unbearable pain.
I don't think they understand. When I say they, I mean, like, government officials and all these people. I don't think they understand how much irreparable damage they've done to their own reputations, to the point now where I just don't. For me, for the rest of my life now, whenever I hear, like, you know, the specialists or the what do they call them? The smartest people on some fucking thing, like the experts. Sorry, the experts. Whenever I hear the experts say, I'm like, get out of here. I don't care. Fuck the experts. Fuck the experts. What do the common man say? What are people saying? What's the word of mouth now? That's the thing I trust, because during COVID in real time, I was getting gaslit by the news, getting gaslit by all this other stuff about, like, what the truth was. Yet everybody around me seemed to have a better, coherent response to everything that was going around. And we were all making jokes about it. I would have rather dealt with COVID than had the world locked down and get to 209 pounds because all I was doing was fucking drinking, because there was literally nothing else I could do. All the gyms were closed. All the activities were closed. We were all working from home. So, like, talk about anxiety. I was just like, I was working 10 hours a day, finance, and then I was stuck at home. And I'm like, no, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, my office is my home. My home is my office. And then just the absolute craziness over the course of a year and a half, every conspiracy theory has now been turned out to be true. All the things that we were called crazy for, that we could, like, be arrested for or, like, lose our jobs for, now when we look back, you guys all were fucking wrong. And it's insane that the repercussions with this were so bad. To the point now, to go back to you and, like, taking the COVID shot, you now have long-term... Sorry, I want to be careful how I say this. I'd rather you...
I have lasting effects from it that I still can feel to this day. So immediately after, when the headaches went away, I went to the gym once and I was like, let me try a light workout, see if the headache comes back. And it didn't. And so I started, like, ramping up my working out. And, you know, even though we hadn't been training the way we normally would, I was still in shape I wasn't like out of shape. Like I couldn't do, a 5-minute round or something. But when I started to train again, a 5-minute round was impossible. 3 minutes, when the round would end, the problem wasn't that I couldn't get through the round. The problem was that I couldn't catch my breath.
You couldn't recover.
I couldn't recover. It would take forever for me just to like, oh my God, I can breathe again. I was unable to do another round, not because I mentally wasn't there or just because I just needed to get in better shape. Like I couldn't breathe. Like I couldn't recover. I was still like almost hyperventilating after a round. Once we stopped, I was just like, like I couldn't breathe. And that took a while just to get better. Several months, I think, just to get better. And then to the point, I think I fought Tolbert, a while after that. But it just took me forever to get in shape. And that still does affect me. I don't really talk about it too much,
Sorry.
No, I don't make like that's an excuse for me, like if I just work out, I will get in shape now. But it's hard for me to recover, to catch my breath after something, which makes it hard to fight because 5 minutes of sprinting, jogging, that of a fight is just, it's exhausting, and you need to be able to get fucking oxygen back.
Fighting is the most exhausting thing I've ever done outside of wrestling.
Yeah. Fighting for the length of a fight is maybe the most exhausting thing I've ever done in my life. Wrestling is just a grind that cannot be compared to, but it's a different type of thing.
Yes.
It's not that it was so exhausting. I'm gonna fucking die. If you're out of shape, yeah, but the grind is way worse. Way worse.
I will say that fighting has this anxiety to it that, like, it's not the physical act of fighting that got me exhausted. It's the moment. It's don't get knocked out. Don't get hit with this. Like, be on edge. You're on it for 15 minutes as a pro, 9 minutes as an amateur. It's exhausting. Yeah. It's exhausting. However, wrestling for me was just like the most physically demanding thing I've done. It's way more physically demanding than fighting.
The difference for wrestling for me was like, even if somebody hits something big or whatever, I'm just down points.
Yeah.
Right? Don't get pinned, right? But everything else is just points. I can come back from that. I can turn this around. Well, I can't turn around losing
Getting
conscious.
knocked out. Yeah.
I mean, I can get up and tell the ref, "What do you mean I went out?"
Just see red, bro.
Right. I can't turn that around. Like there's no fixing that.
Do you harbor like any animosity or are you upset at all at how that all went down? Are you upset that you got the shot? Are you upset?
I'm upset that I knew, because I'm not a fucking idiot, that the whole time, like, you couldn't just mandate this to people. You can't just say, oh, you have 200 employees, like, they have to get this shot. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but they got the intended outcome.
Right. The point, they knew all along that this wouldn't hold up. But it didn't matter because it would take so long to get to the course.
It would force people to get the shot.
The businesses would do exactly what my company did. They would force it because if they didn't, they faced consequences. And ultimately, without being legal, you got the intended result, which I think is crazy. But it happened. I can't do anything about it. It sucks. I feel cheated in a way. And then there's the people that act like there were no consequences for the COVID shot, because I get it. There's
not even no consequences. They'll actively try to like rewrite history in real time.
And I get it. It's
we
super
never
helpful.
said that it would prevent the infection. It's supposed to help the side effects. What?
The whole.
I remember when news outlets were saying that. Even the White House press secretary came out with a letter that says, like, if you're vaccinated, enjoy the holidays, and if you're not.
You can go around your family without your mask. You won't spread it. They're like, we never said you won't spread it. Yes, you fucking did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you did. And then it's a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Well, when the vaccinated are still spreading it, me being one of them, I was vaccinated. Guess what? Spread that shit.
It doesn't even make sense on its face. The whole definition of a vaccine is that when you take it, the antibodies that you will produce from your white blood cells, oh my God. I keep wanting to say antibiotics. Antibodies your white cells will produce are supposed to be more robust so that you cannot get infected again. That just was a flat out lie. People were getting COVID left and right, some of them even from the vaccine, that they could then spread. It was just such a stupid... By the way, And even our reaction in terms of some of the therapeutics was the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like ventilators. Putting people on ventilators was basically like a sure way to kill somebody.
Yeah, it wasn't helping. There were things that were helping, things
So
that
not only
that weren't
was
helping.
the take the vaccine, you'll be fine. No.
Yeah, no.
This is what you should do. If you do get COVID, no. Here's all these mandates in place. Wear this mask 6 feet apart. And we realize that unless you're using a very specific kind of mask,
Didn't work.
the particles are going to go right through the fabric. And then the whole 6 foot apart was literally just made
it
up.
was made up. It was made
Seemed
up.
like a right number.
I get the idea where people are like, well, distance between people has to help. Well, but the problem is, I get saying that, right? Like, you think this out. It seems
You're
to
in a
make sense,
building
but
with centralized air. But what are you talking about?
The problem is, for people that say follow the science, when the science says 6 feet is no different than 3 feet is no different than 10 feet, then the science says you don't need to do this because it's no different.
Yeah.
And there was nothing ever that said 6 feet made a difference. And when Fauci went in front of Congress and finally said, like, we thought it was, this was the early times and we were just trying to come up with something and we thought this was better than nothing, blah, blah. That gave it all away. But then there's still to this day people like, yeah, but it helped. Well, how?
First of all, you cannot say that it helped because you don't know. There's nothing that you can.
There's nothing that says
there's
it
no
did.
metric that would dictate that it would help. The other thing is, it's a very simple question that I'm asking: is the freedoms that we foregone worth what we received? What security? What safety? How many lives were saved because of the overwhelming rights and liberties that we were willing to forego? I'm going to be honest with you, Kris. I look back at that time and I'm actually angry at myself. I'm angry that I listened to all this dumb shit. I'm angry that I did half the dumb shit. And I'm angry more than anything that I wasn't in a position to say, fuck you.
You know what? I get the argument.
I am now. Hold up. I am now.
Yeah.
I am now. And if some shit like that were to happen again,
I think a lot of people would say no. But I get the...
No, but what if they can't?
Well, yeah.
What if they can't? Because there was a lot of people that wanted to say no. So
my position, my work told me I had to get another
The way
shot.
they did it was cruel in a different way. We won't make you, but if you don't do it,
you'll lose your job. You can't work. You can't travel.
You can't feed yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have money.
Well,
we won't make you. We can't force you. There are laws preventing that. But what we can do is do every other thing to entice you to do it. That's not okay. That's not right. And I will go as far as to say that that's like, I never thought we would have had that in my lifetime in America. I never thought that.
They just bludgeoned us in a way that said, well, we didn't make you do it.
And what's even scarier, it was worldwide.
Yeah.
Australia, even China, like all these places did it. I've never seen like such a coordinated fuck up. That, by the way, I mean, and we can also talk about like the ramifications that it had in the education system for like kids that were developing and coming up, the ramifications that it had in the financial industry, the ramifications that it had for the supply chain and like geopolitics after that, because we realized in real time just how susceptible we are and how
reliant we
are with China.
Yeah. I get the argument exists that older people were susceptible, and I get that, but you know what?
That wasn't the narrative.
Right.
That wasn't the narrative.
That wasn't the narrative. And you know what?
They were telling 18-year-olds on spring break,
18-year-old healthy males, the most
that you guys
robust
can't
motherfuckers
dance at
that
the
exist.
beach.
Right? A young male may be the most robust motherfucker on the planet.
Or how about this? For a year, we can't fucking go see our loved ones, but if you march for Black Lives Matter, that's fine because the politics stop the virus. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? So I can't go and sit 6 feet between the next person at a restaurant, but you can be shoulder to shoulder for a protest. It doesn't make any sense.
Also, when you sit down at a restaurant, you get to take the mask off because
just to eat,
shit goes over your head.
Dude, when we look back on it, it was so stupid. It was so fucking stupid. And what drives me the most crazy is I am not one of those guys that thinks like conservatives are somehow like more enlightened than liberals. I think that like I had this conversation with you off the record. I think that anybody that is dumb enough to say like I'm a Republican, I look at them just as stupid as anybody that says like I'm a Democrat, because there's no. Your answer to where you lean politically should always be independent. And if your answer is not independent, you're not a free thinker. You should be able to deduce what you want based on the issue, not like a party. Now, you can have alignments, right? Like, I tend to lean Republican. That makes sense. But when people say, like, oh, I'm Republican, I'm like, okay, dummy. Like, so what? Like, anything a Republican wants is going to be fine now? Because we've seen in real time politics change. Democrats have gone completely off the fucking rails. Communist, socialist, they're doing their infighting. And I'm going to be honest with you. After the Charlie Kirk assassination, when Pam Bondi is talking about limitations to the freedom of speech, I'm like, yo, that's some shit that Biden would have said 2 years ago.
Right.
Or
Or
like, this is not okay.
they made some stupid statement about like, you can't just bring a gun to
Yes, you can. Actually, yes, you can.
Motherfucker.
You have the right to bear arms.
You can't.
It's just the stupidest fucking thing.
It's hurtful to in today's age, where I get how you can, like, I'm a fiscally conservative person. Our government spends entirely too much fucking money. We don't have an income problem. We have a spending problem. Like that is it. That is it. People that argue otherwise, I don't get where you're coming from.
I would go as far as to also say that we have an overtaxation problem.
Yeah, I mean,
we tax too much, and we spend too much, and where we spend the money is stupid.
It's stupid.
And probably fraudulent.
So these people like that can't realize I can be fiscally conservative and totally morally liberal as far as like, if you want to do certain things, I really don't give a shit.
Well, I said this before and I'll say it again. Live and let live only works if the people are willing to let you live.
Right.
And that's the problem. Because I used to be like that too. I used to be like more socially liberal. I was like, hey, if you want to smoke weed, if you want to do all these other things. But the problem is the cascading effects have gone to like, you can't tell anybody no anywhere or else you're a fascist. Like, hey, you want to smoke weed? You want to have gay butt sex? All these other things? Fine. But now they're like, well, we want to have drag hour at your school. No, fuck you. Now you crossed the line.
Right, and
now I'm no longer socially liberal.
And as soon as you say that, they just like say that you just don't agree with any of that. It's like
exactly.
That's
it's the umbrella.
I have. Maybe I shouldn't go to. There is somebody I know that's very close to me that is a trans male.
Eric. Polovina.
He does use the women's locker room. No, somebody I know very close to me, and one of the nicest people I know, and I have nothing wrong with that choice. Like, you're allowed to do that, so I'm perfectly okay with that, right? Like,
by the way, I coached a trans male,
and you know what? Like, I feel like when you're an adult, you should be able to make those kind of decisions as an adult. Because as children, we're fucking idiots. I was a fucking idiot. So don't tell me...
Dude, I'm still an idiot.
Yeah, don't tell me that, especially males, are remotely intelligent as children. Like, we're smart, but we still have dumb ideas.
It goes back to logic. You have to be 21 years old to drink alcohol because your brain hasn't fully developed to, like, handle that drug. Yet we're going to tell 14-year-olds that they can do a double mastectomy. It's just on its face is so stupid. And that's the thing. It's illogical. So we threw logic out the window.
Yeah. So if I was to say, like, I don't want somebody talking to a child and being like, oh, you put on your mom's shoes. Guess what? I put on my mom's fucking heels. Like, it's a thing of like children learning and like wanting to be like somebody or like looking up to them or like, this is what they did. I'm mommy or whatever, whatever the fuck it is.
Just playing.
Yeah, it was just fucking playing.
And by the way, anyone who has kids realizes this.
Yeah. I mean, I had 3 sisters. I didn't have a lot of opportunity to, be like, let's beat the shit out of each other. Let's play war, You if it was raining, you did whatever the fuck everybody else was doing.
You want to know what's the most clear sign of that being like a social contagion and not necessarily true? I want to be careful how I say this. Do I think that transsexuals have always existed? Of course. Just like homosexuals have always existed. Just how, by the way, pedophiles have probably always existed.
Oh, yeah.
But we as a society have to articulate these things and kind of categorize them. And we have to choose, like, as a society, what is acceptable, what is not. And then how do we react to what is acceptable, what is not. So, like, for the longest time, being homosexual was societally not acceptable. And over the course of time, through enlightenment, through progressivism, that has now changed. And I would go as far as to say that the same thing has happened with the trans community as well. The problem with the trans community, and this is what I've deduced based on anecdotal evidence, it is the reason why there was such a backlash to the trans community was not that there was transsexuals was that they were trying to amplify it, to make it bigger than it was, while simultaneously indoctrinating children.
Yeah.
That was the crux of the issue, because I'm sure you do this the same way. Even when I was like younger with gay people, like even though it was like not societally like normal, I didn't care, because I'm like, well, I'm not having sex with you, so what do I care? That's the same thing I felt with transsexuals. The transsexuals around me, like, if you want to be called man or girl, whatever you want, cool. The problem was not what you want me, like the respect you want from me. The problem is how you want to shape the world around you to kind of coalesce around that. And you can't do that.
Right.
You can't say, hey, I want to be a woman now, and I want you to say she, her. Hey, listen, if I love you, if you're like my friend or whatever, I'll do that out of respect. But if I don't know who you are and you're walking by and you look like a dude and I say, hey, buddy, sorry, you can't turn around and be upset with me. Play the game better. What do you want me to say? Right. And more importantly, you then can't warp societal norms around you to occupy spaces that aren't made for you. You can't say that you're a woman and then go into the woman's bathroom. Fuck you. No. You can't say that you're a woman and then change in front of women in the locker rooms and stuff like that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That is where I draw the line. So I'm socially liberal to a point of like where it's now illogical. Because here's the other thing too. All men know this. It's so easily ripe for abuse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Predators will look at this and go, thank God for that opportunity.
And I don't, and again, this comes, I don't think this is like women, you know.
I think it's white women.
I
think it's white liberal women that push a lot of this shit.
I don't think it's the trans men, right? The women that become men that would take advantage of this in that kind of way.
Of course.
It's the men
yes,
that would do it. Oh, I'm trans, so they can get into like a women's locker rooms, things like that. Because men are fucking weird. We just are.
Well, isn't it crazy how many people identified as transsexual during the Biden years, and then it fell off a fucking cliff after COVID?
Listen,
shortly after the election.
Yeah, I think you as an adult, you should be able to do those kind of things and do what you want. The problem is, like, you just can't tell kids. You can't say because you did this, you need to be these things.
Chris. That's the problem.
Right?
That's
you give an inch
happened.
and they just keep taking.
That's the problem.
More
if you,
and more
I
and
saw
more.
them. You know, I hate to say it this way, but like when you listen to these old Republicans talk back in like the 1990s, early 2000s, the number one reason why they were against like gay marriage wasn't even Democrats at the time.
Oh yeah.
Were like, we don't want to demonize it, but we don't believe in their right to be married, right? And they would always cite that same thing as like, because it has a cascading effect. I hate to say it, but they were right. Like I am socially liberal in the sense of like, if you want to be gay and you want to be married, that's fine. But boom, done. That's it. We solved that problem. Stop.
Well,
be married. You want to adopt, whatever.
Be miserable with the rest of us, you dirty fucks.
Fine with me. Don't fucking characterize that and don't use that as a catalyst for the next initiative. Right. Fuck you.
Well, like everything that they go, every path they go down, you play it out to its ultimate
conclusion.
The ultimate conclusion. And it's always crazy, right?
Well, no, it's always legislation.
Well, I mean, the ultimate conclusion, if you play it out, is mind-boggling. Like men and women's sports. Like, play that out to the ultimate conclusion.
That's what I'm saying.
I beat the shit out of you.
But play it to its logical conclusion. How do you maintain it? Through legislation.
Right. Force it.
You have to force it. You have to force it.
Listen, I
hate to say it this way. The Emancipation Proclamation was when Abraham Lincoln allowed for blacks for the first time to, you know, essentially fight in the Civil War because they needed them to fight for their own right. The Emancipation Proclamation wasn't ever intended to free the slaves. It was intended to use the slaves to regain the South into the Union. But because you opened that Pandora's box, it's hard to take back a right you've given. I use that as an example because there are instances in which this has been the right course of action through history, right? The women's right to vote. Now they have it. You're not going to be able to take that back. Gay
should have stopped them at driving.
Homosexuals being able to marry, right? You gave that. Good luck trying to take that back. The problem with like legislation could also be that it's used in incorrect ways. Like if you give men the right to compete against women in sports, or if you tell kids that at 12 years old, you don't have to tell your parents that
Right.
that you want to go through a sex surgery and take hormone blockers and all this other stuff that's going to do irreparable damage. Like you don't want to get to the point where you're given that right and legislate that right, because then you can't take it back.
Right. Well,
And I'm glad, I'll say this out loud, I'm glad that we did not extend that. Not to kids. If you're an adult, do your thing.
Right.
But not to kids. And by the way, I'll go a step further. By proxy of the lifestyle they want to live, they cannot propagate.
Right.
You cannot extend this ideology past the generation. So by virtue of it having to stay alive, you have to get the next generation into these ideas. Now, do I think that you can teach somebody how to be gay? No, I think after living with Ashley Cummins, I think some people are born gay.
Oh, yeah.
Do I think that societal norms and nature and nurture, do I think that if you put people around a homosexual community, they'll start to have some tendencies? I'm not saying that you can like turn somebody gay,
Right.
but I think what you can do is enough
You can
opportunities, you can get them to do some shit, right? Yeah. So what I am trying to say is isolate these things, isolate these variables. I just don't want to see them cross some, like it started with like, gay rights to LGBT to LGBTQ to LGBTQ plus. Then we started memeing, calling them the alphabet people. Right. And that's the thing is like, I don't have any problem with any one of these things on its own. Like if you're transsexual, fine, be an adult, do adult choices. If you're homosexual, if you're intersex, I don't care because it doesn't affect me.
Right.
Until you want to legislate in a manner that affects me. Then don't be upset whenever I don't want to do it. And that was the crux. You wanted to legislate. It affected me in a manner I didn't like, so I didn't want to do it. Then you call me the transphobe. Then you call me this phobe and that phobe. Phobia is derived from fear.
Right.
I don't fear trans. I don't fear gays. I don't fear any of this shit.
That's what they say though. Like because you're fear of what?
Shut the fuck up.
I don't fear. What if listen, I get in a cage with people that are trying to murder me. What do you think I fucking fear?
Scared of your lady dick? Come on.
Like the thing too is you play that out, right? So you and I have been around fighting for a long time combined, and I hate when people play this game of like there's this one outlier, like there's this one woman that is stronger than some men. Okay, but that's statistically the most 0.01% of people. Right? There are just not women that can compete with men. And listen, when you make
I wouldn't
a choice,
even say the outlier. It's like Amanda Nunes might be able to knock out and beat up some guy off the street. But if Amanda Nunes is fighting like, a high level amateur, not even a pro, the high level amateur is going to fuck her up.
Probably. I mean, he's just going to hit harder and be able to take
everything,
the punch.
All the variables. Yeah. It's not a knock on Amanda Nunes. It's just genetics.
Well, you know what my thing comes into play too is we all make choices in life on the things we want to do, right? If I want, let's say I want to, I'm a 30-year-old male, and for whatever reason my testosterone has just tanked out. I go to a doctor. He's like, hey, you're shit bottom, and we can fix this. You can take TRT. You then have a choice of, as an athlete, do you give up the sport to feel more normal otherwise, or do you just keep feeling the way you feel? Because if you take TRT,
you're cheating.
You're cheating, and also you're gonna pop. Like they're gonna test. You're gonna pop.
No.
So,
well,
not as an amateur, but I'm saying like
dude,
in a real
community
sport.
Is with that.
But in a Olympic sport or whatever, right? You make a choice. You make a choice, so you can be trans. Yeah, but you've made the choice to give up the sport.
But it also happens after the fact. Like Amir Khan, the lady that won the gold medal in boxing. It was like a year and a half, 2 years. Now the Olympic Committee is like, no, that's a dude.
Right.
That is a biological male. Like, by the way, guys, because that was like a back and forth, like, no, she is. No, she isn't. No, she passed all the things. No, she's got a dick. That was a man.
Well, when they said you can take a test, that's when she was like, well, I'm not doing that.
Yes. So it's like, here's the thing.
Listen,
it's a slippery
you can ask me to take a lot of tests, and if there ain't nothing wrong with me,
How about this? How about like the majority? A lot. I don't want to say. I want to be careful how I say this because I don't know it off the top of my head. But the number of powerlifting world records shattered in the last like 4 years is monumental, and it's like the previous records are obliterated. It's not like someone deadlifted 400 pounds and then like the next world record was like 415. It was like 400 pounds, and then in comes like Shirley fucking teed out, fucking deadlifting 700 pounds.
I'm a strong woman.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, this is not fair to women.
Yeah.
Call a spade a fucking spade. I have a daughter.
Well,
I have a daughter, and I'm telling you right now, if a man ever wants to compete with my daughter, I'm getting involved. Well, I'm gonna get involved.
It's beyond just them losing that competition
in sports.
Yeah, it's beyond just them losing that competition. Like, we spent all these years with Title IX and all this stuff to make it more equal
Equitable,
for women.
yes.
Yeah, and now it's not just that they lose that sport; they lose scholarships.
Yes.
Those are life opportunities. This is life changing for some of these people. Going from one school to another can be life changing, and you're taking that away. And the absurdity. You can choose to be trans, but then you choose to give up playing the sport. That's your choice.
Or you just play with the men. Continue to play with the men.
All people can play with men, because then you're not cheating anyway.
Well, that's the thing, is like, you know, if a trans, how many trans men, like women that transition to men, then want to compete against men? It's always the other way around. It's always like trans women, men that become women that are like, well, now I want to compete against. Like, no, dude, fuck you.
Listen, I
Be
told
a
you.
woman. I'll call you she.
I told you I was going to be done with fighting, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the women's division.
Intergender.
I'm going to be the intergender champion. I'm coming for that fucking belt.
Christina.
Hey, can't stop me, motherfucker. At 50 years old, I would Wally stomp everybody.
Have you been paying attention? I told you I was going to bring this up, so forgive me, but have you been paying attention to all these Epstein files that just dropped?
I have, like, a little. I haven't paid attention to the latest drop. I have some of the outliers, and I know, as you say stuff, it will make sense to me. And
well, let me give you some of the synopsis of what's been kind of unearthed now. Some of this has been, so I'm on a Discord channel where we're actively like looking at the files that are being dropped from the administration in real time, coupled with the fact that you have like the entirety.
Do I need to call Chris Hansen? What are you looking at?
No, dude.
Have a seat,
dude. Well, here's the thing. There's nothing on those, like, they're
right. They've removed.
Let's take it before I talk about the criticisms I have. Let us do the pros. Like, so, you know, when Thomas Massey and Congress passed the law to like release the Epstein files within 30 days of the legislation that they signed, the problem is, like, did you create legislation that is physically doable? Like, can you logistically actually get that done? I think that all these files have existed in their entirety, but to go through them page by page to find out what you need to redact in order to truly protect people in a month is absurd. Anybody in corporate America would realize that that's crazy. However, here's the problem. When the first couple iterations of the released files come back and you're realizing the redacted names are to protect the predators and not the victims, then it makes you start to think, like, what are these redactions? Yeah. To what extent are you withholding information and not? I will say that this iteration of released content was much more forthcoming. But here's the other problem. So, like, you're actually starting to get some names. Like, so Bill Gates, 100%.
Really?
As guilty as guilty can be.
I've heard stories, and again, I don't know how.
He was being blackmailed for sure.
I've heard stories that both he got divorced, and maybe it was because his wife knew some of that information. You know, it's hard to say. Like, you just kind of heard rumors of that stuff. You know, so I don't know.
To that point, I will say this: that these were the emails of Jeffrey Epstein, among others, right? Like emails to Jeffrey or emails that Jeffrey sent out.
So one of the other things that I did hear about that is some of the people have said that he, and again, this could be covering your own tracks, right? But some of the people have said that he would send certain emails to people in an effort to try to, like, rope you into having to do what he wanted. By me, if I send an email, right, to somebody that knows you and it's like, hey, Arion did this thing, right? You know, and I'm like, hey, if you don't start helping me out or doing what I want, I can send more of these. And you go, well, I never did that. Doesn't matter. They know me. They're going to believe you did it. You know, like, so I don't know any of that being true. Or
here's the problem. So, like, let me say what you just said, but a little bit more coherently, if you don't mind me asking. Yeah. What Kris is basically saying, like, is it not possible that Jeffrey understood maybe he was playing 4D chess and he realized that one day this would become to light and that he can just send emails, and then by virtue of him being so heinous, these people are just guilty by association. Guilty in the terms of the public domain. Like, why is Elon Musk getting emails from Jeffrey Epstein? Are you on the fucking island? And all these other things. I can understand what you're meaning there. The reason why I don't think that's a variable here is the time. A lot of these emails are like 2014. 2015, 2016, 2017. So like we're talking about like pre-Trump 1 up until middle of the first Trump presidency. So I don't think that's the case. I also think, Kris, based on like the language, and by the way, I watched this. I'm currently watching the Steve Bannon. It was never actually published, but Steve Bannon did a 2-hour interview with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, really?
And here is what. So for those that don't know, I have a double major in finance and accounting. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein's his financial literacy, even though he's supposed to be this savant of private and public equity and he's supposed to understand the market and all these other things. I mean, the way he's talking to Steve Bannon and how he's like articulating financial concepts is like freshman, sophomore, college student level.
So there's a good chance he just didn't really know all that stuff, but used other ways to pull money in.
I think he learned a lot through osmosis by being in these circles. I mean, listen, if you're around intelligent people and they're talking, you're bound to like
pick up on
some of these things. But here's the problem with like being around people that are having conversations that are above your level. You will feel as if you're more intelligent and you'll start to like increase your vernacular, but you'll start using words incorrectly. The way you describe something is like, that's not really what that is. Yeah. So like when Jeffrey Epstein's talking to Steve Bannon, I'm just like he's talking to Steve Bannon and expressing financial concepts. And I'm like, Jeffrey, this is like finance 101.
Yeah. Like
you can open up like finance for dummies and like everything you're saying is on like chapter 3. Like this is not like groundbreaking JP Morgan's doing a synopsis of the market or, you know, a Warren Buffett commission kind of thing. It's like, dude, this is like entry level fucking information. And like the way he's talking is like to try to be like this, well, look how intelligent I am. And Steve did a really good job in that interview of like goading him in. You could tell that Steve was feeding the ego to kill him by the end of the interview. Like the end of the interview was like, Jeffrey's like, we got to go. You know what I mean? So anyway, what I'm trying to say that with that though is just like during COVID, how we had like conspiracy theorists then turn into, well, there's some credibility here too. No, you're actually right. I'm fearful, especially based on these last files that were dropped. Every single thing that we think about this, like, I don't think it's a cabal of elite doing heinous shit. I think what it is more than anything is a blackmail operation. And I think that there's a correlation between debauchery and wealth.
Yeah.
And I think the more wealth you have, the easier it is to get away with things and to do things.
Absolutely.
Because like if you want to listen, what's crazy is, you know, you want to have like your sex dungeons with underage minors and stuff like that. It's pretty difficult unless you have a fucking island and you can fly your private jet there.
Well, you know,
and you own everybody that comes and goes.
So you know what's wild about all that is that we have the FBI that is constantly, you know, looking out for this kind of shit.
I'm glad you said that, but continue.
So we have this, and they hunt for these kind of things, and it's not like the U.S. FBI is bad at this. They're pretty fucking good, actually. Like they catch people doing stuff, and you're like, damn, man, all right.
Say what you want. Our intelligence agencies seem to be when they want to hit, when they want to strike. It's been flawless recently.
So unless this guy's using like secret code and everything that's just nobody fucking gets, doesn't
Kris? It's not even secret code. Most of the emails is like, it's just out there.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that torture video was amazing. Send another. No code. Like, no code. Some of them are code. The worst one I saw was the subject line was U9 Red Pizza Party. U9, under 9, Red Pizza Party.
Wow. So
I had to get up yesterday.
Dude.
I was working and I was like, we were on the Discord chat and we're like kind of going through these files. I literally, when I saw that email, I had to get up. And like I went and I kissed my daughter and Bruno was like, are you good? And I was like, it's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
I think.
And by the way, they're all fucking lying.
Oh,
Half of the administration, including Elon Musk, this is factual, at me on this one. Elon Musk is on the record saying that he never visited Jeffrey Epstein's estate or his island. Elon Musk was on the record for visiting the island. The only reason he didn't was because Jeffrey Epstein later emailed him and said like, hey, I can't do it. Some things like he had to move some things around and he had to push Elon Musk. It was not that Elon Musk was invited and said no.
Yeah.
He said yes and would have gone. And even there was an email where Elon Musk sent to Jeffrey Epstein where he was looking to party. He wanted a getaway. And Jeffrey's like, we can easily make that happen. You're going to have a great time. No expenses will be spared. And then a couple days later, he's like, hey, on me, we're going to have to reschedule. So like the only reason on paper so far, I have to add this context so that I don't get sued. With the information that we have on hand, preliminarily, allegedly, it seems as if Elon Musk had set up to go there. Not just him. A lot of people in this administration. And when you say the FBI, Kash Patel sat there in front of fucking Congress and said that we have no credible source of information that could lead that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked anybody for sex at all.
Yeah,
that's one, just right, flat out perjury. And from the previous administration, from Fauci to now this administration, at what point is there accountability?
Right.
You should not be able to just fucking lie to Congress. Or when you're subpoenaed, like the Clintons, they literally sent a letter and said, nah, fuck you. And what happened? Nothing.
Well, nothing yet. But here's a wild thing.
I hope yet. Right. I hope yet.
It's going to take some Democrats, and now they're saying they're not going to do it unless they can do something to Nome or whatever. Either way, here's a wild thing.
But isn't that so crazy? Hold up. Everything you just said, isn't that so fucking wild? So like our legislative branch is so polarized and so politicized that they can't execute the clear, concise parameters of the law.
Right.
The Clintons were subpoenaed by Congress to appear and decided not to. The only thing left to do now is to arrest them.
Well, and if you remember, shortly
does not
before,
require Congress.
Right. Well,
arrest them.
Shortly before this, Republicans that either refused or lied to Congress, they faced consequences, right? Like this happened. If you lied to Congress recently during the Biden administration, you faced consequences. You went to jail. Man, I wish I had the name. But there were people that either didn't show up, didn't answer the subpoena,
maybe small time people,
or they lied. But they actually faced the jail time consequences and a perjury charge. Now,
I don't know of a single one, Chris.
Yeah, it's on there. Somebody, if I get a phone, I'll
sorry.
Yeah. It did happen. Here's a wild thing. Back when Obama was in office, Eric Holder went in front of Congress about the Fast and Furious scandal, which is when our government did gun running. We basically gave guns that we knew were going to go to the cartel, and we lost track of them. And he pretended like he didn't fucking know about it, like lied to Congress. They knew he lied to them. They said he lied, and then the Republicans, being such pussies at the time, didn't. They said, "Listen, this isn't decorum. Like we don't pursue this. We're not going to go after him for lying."
Well, then set the fucking precedent.
And now
so then perjury means nothing,
right? And so I think they were expecting.
And
that's
the problem. And that's the problem because this is how law works. The way law works is precedent is set, and then you can refer to the precedent and say like, "Hey, we have this case, but." Based on the injunction and based on what the prosecuting attorney wants to do, based on this court case and this court law and this hearing, we think that this is similar. We think that this should be thrown out because of X, Y, and Z. This is how law works. You don't just like have a case that's like you state your case before the jury and a judge. A lot of times, most court cases don't even see a jury. They're just like, Your Honor, based on
right and the judge
Brown versus whatever. We think that this falls under the same category, and the judge could be like, "Yeah, you're right, it does. There's no lawsuit here, right? So, like, if you have enough people that do not get justice for perjury, how long until someone can do that on the stand for like some small time crime, lie in front of the jury and a judge, and then if he gets caught for lying, be like, well, the precedent was set with the fucking Clintons, the precedent was set with the FBI director, the precedent was set with Pam Bondi and the Attorney General of the fucking United States. I'm sorry, Anthony Fauci. Like, right. What are we talking about, guys?
Right. Yeah.
There has to be accountability.
I think the precedent all the way up until the last administration was people in the administration could either ignore a subpoena or lie to Congress, and the consequence was Congress would get pissed off and just prove that you lied, right? They would just tell the public that you lied, but they wouldn't go after you because they're like, that's not, he's an administration member, like that's not something we do here in the U.S. But then they started actually going after people, and so they need to keep, if you're going to choose one,
for
go
what
after
better
them.
Reason than pedophilia and sex trafficking?
Right.
For what better reason? Outside of like full-blown murder.
Whenever somebody is like,
if this was campaign financing, I'm willing to look the other way because it's so rampant with abuse anyway.
Right, you're all
that if you
fucking doing that.
you're all susceptible to all this. And like if you put the magnifying glass on any politician, they've probably broken those laws. The problem is the laws don't create laws you can't enforce. The problem with this one is these are laws we should and can enforce.
And these are
if
people
we subpoena your ass, you can come in and plead the fifth on every question. You have rights.
Right. Yeah, these
but
are.
You don't have the right to not show up.
These are things that everyone should be mad about, and that Republican or Democrat, if someone gets asked to come talk about this in front of Congress under oath and they choose not to show up, this should be a no-brainer. There should be a slam dunk. Every person in Congress should be voting for contempt.
Or how about this? Or if they do come in and they lie.
Right.
Under oath, then the exact same thing should happen.
Here's the
because here's the thing, Chris. If you can get away with lying, or you can get away with not even showing up, what the fuck is the point of all this?
Right. Here's
Congress subpoenaed me. Suck my dick.
Here's the weird part about the lying thing that I don't want to protect anybody that lies to Congress. I think lying to Congress should get you in trouble. Congress is very good at playing these dumb little games, right? This gotcha of like. That's
not what I'm talking about. So what you're saying is like they'll use the power of language to formulate a question in a way to get them to have a certain answer. No,
that can be a lie. Technically,
that's small time stuff. This is something as simple as Kash Patel saying there is his words.
Right.
There is if someone says, did Jeffrey Epstein traffic anybody, whatever, he could say, to my knowledge, no.
Right.
To my knowledge, no. And to my knowledge is that scapegoat for plausible deniability, right? To my knowledge, we don't think that.
Or like in court cases, I don't recall.
Yes, exactly. There's words that you can use. So I and forgive me if you're at this level of the game, you better be smart enough to know the language, right? Yeah. So my thing is, he sat there and said that we have no evidence. The FBI has no evidence that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked anyone to anyone. His words.
Yeah, that's.
He said they had no evidence.
Before he even had the island.
And then subsequently released evidence.
Yeah.
So that's a flat out lie.
Well, the shit.
What is the repercussions?
The shit that this is what has been frustrating me about Republicans right now, right? We always, when you look at administrations, one of the things Republicans have done is have said that, the Democrats will just lie to your face and blah, blah. And then we have somebody like, like the Alex Preddy shooting in Minneapolis, and Pam Bondi comes out. Was it Bondi?
No, Kristi Noem.
Kristi Noem comes out and says he brandished a weapon at agents. Blah blah. Listen, was the shooting? You could say a lot of stuff about, like, we don't have all the information. He did have a weapon. Things may have gone wrong. We're looking into it. But when you say something that you know for a matter of fact is a fucking lie, and there's cameras all around.
Not to mention that there was a similar case not too long ago where there was enough variables to kind of sort of justify. So Renee Good, I want to say like a week and a half before the shooting of Alex Preddy, she also was shot and killed by ICE officers, but because she was in a vehicle, because she was,
because she drove forward,
she was accelerating forward,
she did hit him. It's not like a whop, I hit you.
It's not the worst. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. There was enough there to be like, hey, this isn't your martyr.
He gets off in court.
And here's the thing, even with
Alex,
Alex, like they were trying to show videos of him being aggressive towards law enforcement officers, but on separate days.
Different day.
So it's like, sorry guys, that's not how our judicial system works. You cannot be judge, jury, and executioner. And at the time that you remove the weapon from, first of all, we'll talk about, like, you could go ad nauseum about, like, you know, the proper way to conceal and carry, the proper way to be a coherent
the way to behave during those situations.
But the problem is, you have to look at that in isolation. They removed the firearm from him and then shot him in the back of the head.
Right. So,
but here's the thing, and I'll say this, and then forgive me because I don't want to hog it, but I think that there are ways to have this conversation in isolation where you could be like, is what ICE doing good? And should those people that did that execution be put in a box? The answer to both of those questions can be yes.
Yeah, they're
you can have all the conversations
mutually
you want to have.
Exclusive. Those are two different things.
It goes back to my thing of, like, when you're so Republican that you can look at a man being executed in real time and say that he deserved it, you're the problem. And you can be so Democrat that when a woman is in a car speeding in front of someone, hitting them, and you're saying that there should be no recourse and in the heat of the moment, all this other stuff, it's just, if both sides have lost their legitimacy to me. And that's why at this point, I hate to say it, like, I'm very fucking black-pilled, not from misinformation or malinformation, but for information that's just skewed to your preferred polarization.
She said that because she knew if she said it, it would get out there, and then people would be like, "Oh, that's why they did it."
Yeah.
You know, like that's what.
And there's a whole subsect of people that will hear that, believe that, and then that's it. And it's like there's some Democrats that still think that Trump said that there are good people on both sides.
Right.
And that's
or
6 years ago.
Liz Cheney firing squad.
Yes, that's 6 years ago, and people still believe that shit.
The thing. You know, like she said that. I heard that, and I'm like, we're like an hour in, and I'm like, yo, there's video. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Yeah, come right back and be like, that was the evidence given to us.
I'll go as far as to say this: criticize Trump where he deserves credit. I'll talk about his presidency openly. I voted for him. I'm happy with 70% of what I've gotten, but the 30% that I'm not happy with is our FBI director lying in front of Congress, is our attorney general not doing anything.
She's been a disappointment.
Yeah,
in my eyes. In my eyes.
And Kristi Noem, who I'm assuming is put in that position because she's hot.
Yeah,
she's so fucking stupid. She's
so
fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
We're running the state,
killing her dog and being a governor.
Yeah, running a state, but like.
And I'm sorry, Republicans. Like, I want you to know that I voted for Trump, and if you gave me that vote 10 times, I'm voting for Trump 10 times because the alternative was Kamala Harris, okay? And say what you want about where we're at in the world. I'm so glad that Trump got elected, okay? However, on that same flip of the coin, you have to acknowledge where the failures lie.
Yeah.
Tariffs have been an utter failure, and a lot of his appointments in his cabinet are utter failures. There's a bunch of his cabinet members that are amazing. Tom Homan, RFK Jr., there are some people there that are doing really good work. I think Marco Rubio is an amazing
Marco Rubio's killing it.
Yes.
I think Marco Rubio's killing it.
I think Tom Homan is killing it. I think there's a lot of people, say what you want about Jared Kushner. He's not technically like an appointed government
He's
person.
Negotiating deals.
Yeah, but there's also a darkness to it because of like how they're talking about New Gaza and shit like that.
Yeah.
But what I am trying to say is, like, to what extent do we say, an administration is effective? An administration is effective if they can execute the will of the people. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of things that Trump inherited from the previous president, who I will say that I thought for the longest time that George Bush was the worst president in my lifetime, that he was going to go down as the worst president in my lifetime. I think that Biden was making a very good case for that, and if he would have gotten elected again, would have easily been the worst president of my lifetime.
The fact that they thought he could run again was just
no, they knew he couldn't.
I know, but they were trying to push him through.
Stage 4. By the way, I'm fairly certain Biden's going to die here in a couple months from stage 4. I think it was like pancreatic cancer or whatever.
I'm not sure.
It's like a very debilitating. And you're telling me that they didn't know about this cancer?
They never saw
president of the United States, who has to do all these like tests and medical examinations, they didn't know that he had cancer.
That it just sprung up out of nowhere, like that level of that age of a man.
Once again, it was another conspiracy theory. Another conspiracy theory that at the time we were called crazy, but we were like, hey, the easiest way to get the first black female president is if you elect this old white guy again, and then he dies. And it would have happened.
Or he just loses his fucking
If
mind.
Biden dies before the end of Trump's presidency, we called it. Another conspiracy theory that panned out to be true.
I think if you're going to... if you are supporting of Trump,
This,
you have
by
to
the way,
criticize
this
him.
conversation now just got absolutely nuked on YouTube. Just so you know,
Which one?
this conversation.
Oh yeah,
Because of what we're talking about right now, I'm
yeah.
gonna get a strike maybe, and we won't get ads. We won't, dude. If I even say the word Trump on a conversation, I get a flag from YouTube.
You know what's
Spotify,
crazy?
nothing.
You know what's crazy? Because I'm about to say, if you're a supporter of Trump, then you have to be able to be critical too.
Yes.
There are things that are that you can criticize in every administration, and that's what drives me wild from both of the groups. You know, Democrats tend to be like, even in Congress, they're like lockstep with each other all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Say one thing about them, but those
They're
motherfuckers know how to
coordinated.
bind together
Yes.
and vote. Like, they pass shit through with no margin because they don't fucking need it.
Yeah.
Every
You're
single
talking
one of them.
Well, you're
voted
talking
for
about during the previous administration
Right,
when
yeah.
the Senate was even and the
Dude,
vice president would be the deciding vote. Kamala Harris had the most. Look this up, but Kamala Harris had the most like tie-breaking votes of any vice president.
Dude, Nancy Pelosi, don't like her. That woman could rally the party and be like,
She
we
knew it.
will vote this way. And they all fucking fell in line. Republicans do not have that.
Say what you want about previous Speaker McCarthy, but he was one of the best fundraisers apparently in the Republican Party ever.
So it blows.
They're effective.
It blows my mind that people will be like, oh, Republicans can't criticize Trump, blah, blah, blah. Well, listen, I can criticize Trump. I voted for him too, but I'll criticize like some of the shit I don't fucking like.
Yeah.
But you got to look. I look overall. But then you go back and go, okay, well, you couldn't even be honest with us. Biden was fucking getting lost in the jungle, pointing at people that weren't there.
He did one debate, and
it
they
became,
ushered him out.
It became so. What happened in that one debate is it became so obvious that he
you
couldn't
could not
mentally
lie.
function anymore,
Yeah.
and the media could no longer cover it up. Otherwise, they would have kept doing it. That's what blows your mind. There are people out there being like, he is perfectly fine. He is sharp as a tack. Fuck you.
Did you hear some of the conspiracy theories on the reason why Tim Walz was selected for vice president was, one, to bring in the state of Minnesota, but also because they were worried about the fraud, because there was growing investigations into the fraud in Minnesota. So like one of the things they wanted to do was, if Kamala Harris were to get elected and he was the VP, the pardon was like pretty much like
and
a guarantee.
You know what's crazy? I think if she goes Josh Shapiro, even though part of her party would have hated her because he's Jewish, who were they going to vote for? They weren't going to vote for Trump all of a sudden.
It would have probably brought Pennsylvania in at the very
They would have
least.
probably brought Pennsylvania in. I bet maybe some other states, because Josh Shapiro, he's
Very
pretty,
capable politician.
pretty good. Like, he talks well. He knows what the fuck he's talking about.
He would have been the Democratic J.D. Vance.
He's liked in Pennsylvania. You know,
That
like,
debate between J.D. and Tim Walz was like so apparent that these guys are just not on the same IQ level.
It's wild from the outside, from not wanting to vote for Kamala, to realize that Josh Shapiro was the best fucking candidate she could have picked as a VP, and she didn't pick him.
Everything had to happen the way it happened for it to happen, like to get us to here today. And I don't know. All I know is, as I'm getting older, man, I'm finding less and less hope for this country. And that's, I hate
We'll
saying
bring Obama
that.
back for a third term. You can bring that hope and change back, baby.
I hate saying that, because it's like, this is the last bastion. This is, I've said it multiple times. I love this country. It's given me everything, all my abundance. I'll be buried here. But, you know, in my lifetime, I've seen 2 financial crashes, a pandemic, and the realization that elected officials are, for large and purposes, pedophiles.
You know,
It's just so demoralizing. It's also about to be tax season, right? Mm-hmm. And I think to myself, like, so I'm paying pedophiles, and half the money is going to Somalian immigrants, and it's like, dude, what is going on?
we're just blowing money out.
You know,
the interest on our debt is insane. The interest is like $1 trillion.
Yeah, it's the top line of our
$1
expenditure.
trillion used to, as a deficit for a year, used to be crazy.
Talk about another thing.
Interest on our debt.
Talk about another thing I want to criticize the Trump administration for is how they're trying to crack down on Jerome Powell, trying to use the levers of government to be like, hey, if you don't do what we want, we're going to investigate you. That's literally what the Democrats did to Trump.
Right.
This is the same playbook. The hypocrisy is so wild to me. And I know what it is. It's so obvious at this point. You want them to lower the rate so that you can refinance some of the debt at lower interest rates to bring that interest payment down. But the problem is, until you do something, this idea that, you know, I'm finally glad that we're all in agreement that the idea that America will ever not be in debt is now dead.
Yeah.
You're never coming back from $40 trillion. No. So now what we're talking about is the debt to GDP ratio. We're just moving the goalpost. And the idea of growing your way out of debt on paper makes sense when the debt is manageable. But you're not going to, like, you're not.
At $1 trillion in interest.
You cannot grow your way out if you also don't do something to how much you spend.
Right.
You can't maintain a $2 trillion deficit, and possibly even more because Trump wants to expand the military budget. I think he wants to expand the military budget so that the interest goes back to number 2.
Yeah.
Because right now you could technically on paper say that the interest is the top line item, but if you can either, pay off some of the debt and lower the interest, or you can just raise military spending and now it's back to number 2. But so if you don't do anything about the spending, what are we talking about?
Right.
What are we talking about? This is never ending.
Well, when they started talking about,
unless you introduce cryptocurrency to offload the American dollar and then leave everybody else with the debt.
When they're like,
which is a very real possibility.
Tariffs are bringing in so much money and we can use that
they're not.
to offset. Well, regardless, I was like, okay, fine. But when they started talking about like, we'll give people a rebate, I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? We have $40 trillion in debt. Take your rebate and shove it up your ass.
Here's the problem. Tariffs work in isolation if you already have manufacturing capabilities within a country. The idea of applying tariffs makes sense in order to bring back manufacturing or bring back some of these jobs or bring back some of these pieces in the industrial line. However, the way that the blanket, it's like ready, shoot, aim. And the problem with that is the inconsistency of the American economic hands creates a lot of uncertainty. So the market has just been swinging back and forth. And there's been a lot of people speculating that the reason they do that is on purpose so that they can buy the dips and sell the peaks. Because, if you look at any of these Polymarket and Kyle Sheen, all these betting things and these speeches being cut off at exactly the right time to get a massive 50-1 payout. And then you look at the market and the amount of insider trading from the Trump administration right before things are announced. It's so clear that there's money to be made from these wild swings. And that's another thing I don't necessarily agree with. There's just so much stuff that's happening right now that's so on the face fraudulent, immoral, illegal. At what point do we just go, is this going to do irreparable harm to the American government and how it's seen? Truly.
Because every other country is just not.
Thank God.
Right.
Thank God that every other country is so fucking far beneath us.
Because we are the
that
U.S.
we can't shit the bed this hard and still be number 1.
It's like the best athlete in a sport just having a shit fucking day and they're still better.
No, a shit season.
Right.
Well, this is a shit season.
But they still win.
Yeah.
The U.S. is just a freak athlete.
Yeah.
That has
can
shit
do everything
in the bed,
wrong.
But we're still a better athlete than the rest of you dickhead fucks. So good luck.
And that's the other saving grace when you factor into the equation geopolitics and what is on the horizon for other countries. It's I don't want to be the winner because everybody else chose worse. Right. I want to be the winner because we chose well. And it's just, dude, I'm 33 years old, okay? And I said this once and I'll say it again. The entirety of my time in America, all I've known is life getting harder. And I've done well for myself, so I want to be careful how I say this. My life has not gotten harder. My life has been relatively great, to be honest with you.
Life in general.
But life for everyone around me.
Yeah.
Even myself, my life could be better if things were more affordable and everything, then my dollar would go a little farther. So I have to make more money. Let's say I've doubled my income, but inflation was 10% year over year. That hits me just as much as it hit you. You know what I mean? So it's still a reflection, but at some point, I would like a window, 3 or 4 years, please, where life got better. Where life got better. And whatever life got better means to anybody else, I'm trying to say, as a whole, we're not going back in prices, but let's maintain inflation at 2%.
Right.
Let's not start another fucking war. Let's try to be, as America first as possible. Let's try to rein in some fraud. Let's try to rein in some of this debt spending. Let's try to balance a budget, for God's sake. Can the Pentagon pass an audit? I would like 3 or 4 years of just a glimpse of can we even do this? Or at this point, are we just spiraling to our slow demise?
I don't think anybody will come into office and I thought Trump would do this, but I don't think he
I
will.
thought the same thing.
I don't think anybody will come to office that will actually get the spending under control. Because you know why? It's in order to do that, you have to give up the midterms because things are going to get worse before they get better. Bringing spending under control, you're going to have to be honest with the American public.
I don't think so. I actually think that it can be done with investigations into fraud.
Yeah, but we have like
because what you have to do is you have to anger people.
Yeah.
If you can get people angry and say we're not even spending this money appropriately,
right.
So why are we taxing you for it?
Yeah, if they could say like, hey,
why is this even in the
we find
budget?
all this fraud in Medicaid, so we're going to cut the spending in Medicaid. We're going to root out this fraud, and we're going to be at the same level we were. You're not losing shit.
The problem
People would be okay.
The problem is that will never happen.
Well,
because the media will spin it.
Yes.
They want to cut Medicaid,
Yes.
and then half the dummies will be like, don't cut
Right.
Medicaid. Not my Medicaid.
We need.
And then you got half the Trumpers that are like also on Medicaid. They're going to be like, not my Medicaid.
Somebody has to have the fucking balls to go to the American public and be like, listen, motherfuckers, you need to understand this. We cannot run this program this way.
I have a difference of opinion. What you have to do is you have to create a constituency. You have to create a populace of people that realize that your life will only get harder so long as the government is in it.
Yeah.
And that at the times in American history where we did the best was when government did the least. And when people sit there and tell me like, well, what about the New Deal and what got us out of what got us out of the Great Depression? It was World War II. It was the fact that we won and that we essentially owned Europe, the reconstruction of it, and benefited heavily from it.
By the
wasn't
way,
anything
gave them free trade, which
Yes.
then later fucked us.
Well, it helped us in the short term, but fucked us in the long term. Well, because it wasn't the free trade that fucked us. It was the offshoring of our manufacturing capabilities. It was the hollowing out of the middle class. There's so many things that are just so fucking on their face stupid that we did. Now, we didn't do something as stupid as like a one-child policy, thank God, but there are a bunch of other things that we did. And here's the thing I'll say. Labor, manufacturing is so, like there's only so many places it can go to where you've propagated the rest of the world. So like for the longest time, it went to China because the Chinese labor was so cheap. Well, now that Chinese labor is starting to get more expensive.
Going to India, though.
You have an entire generation of Chinese kids that are like, well, I don't want to work in the factory. I want to do this. I want to do white collar work. I want to do this, whatever. You know what I mean? So now then you move to India. Okay, well then maybe you have like, next 10, 15 years of Indian labor. And then you're going to have to move to what? Vietnam, or you might have to move to the Philippines. Like you'll only be able to move so many places until.
Listen, if Africa was smart, they'd start lobbying right now. Because oddly, despite this being terrible, right, and the wages being minuscule, it eventually raises the standard of living
for all of them. Yeah. Well, look at China.
Right.
China's a prime example. They brought out the most people from poverty. I think they have like a home ownership rate of like 97%, which is like insane for like 97% of your adults to own homes. They don't tell you that half of those fucking homes are like literally empty cinder block apartment building condos where people just buy real estate for the investment. But anyway, that's beside the point. I don't know. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of fucked up shit. And I have no faith. My mentality is just like, Ariane, make more money. Just make so much money that like this shit doesn't affect you.
I guess maybe it's just having been born in the 80s and
living in America.
We still had that, America
patriotism,
exceptionalism kind of idea that somewhere deep down in me, I'm just like, somebody can come along and fix this, but it's getting hard.
I don't think it's one person.
Right, but they have to build the populace, like you said, the movement, which I thought Trump had. But even having that populist movement, the people are so fucking dumb. If Trump came to people right now and be like, what we're doing is insane. We have to change this. I'm going to do it. And they would be like, no, you can't actually take that money.
You can't have a Miriam Adelson coming in and spending $250 million in your campaign.
Right.
You can't have that. You can't have that. We didn't even talk about like geopolitics in the sense of like the conspiracy theories setting around Israel and the Jewish people and all this other fucking shit. And it's just like, the layers, the tranches, the onion of what this is. It starts with the Epstein files, the beginnings of what could possibly be the catalyst for change, as cliche as it sounds, could be the release of these Epstein files. Because you create a scenario where if accountability is not met, I've heard the term civil war being thrown out like left, right, and center. And I'm not trying to go to war with my fucking neighbor who's also struggling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think at some point you start talking about revolutionary war. I said this earlier and I'll say it again. I'm not looking for, American Civil War. I'm looking for French Revolutionary War. I'm looking for 1776. That's what I'm looking for. Because right now, here's the thing. If accountability is not upheld within the parameters of that group on its own, the people will rise and create the accountability themselves. Or they don't.
Or they don't, right?
Or they don't. And if they don't, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, I think
the founding fathers did it for 1% tax on tea.
I know.
Said, "Excuse me, I'll fucking kill you." And they did.
Hold my teacup.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Meanwhile,
shit up?
a third of my income goes to the government, who is run by pedophiles, possibly blackmailed by a foreign state to cause forever wars and instability.
That's the wild thing about Epstein, right? The theory that he might.
He's not theory. He is a part. He worked with Mossad.
Well,
not a theory anymore.
Not even just Mossad. He could have been for multiple countries.
Yeah.
Like, fuck
highly
me.
likely. Highly likely.
That's the only way he gets away with all the shit he got away with, right? Like, there's no way.
Well, the first time he got arrested in the United States, they let him go because the phone call came in. They're like, he's with intelligence.
Fuck these people.
Kris, we have two and a half hours basically. Before we put a cap on it, brother, is there anything else you want to shout out, throw out before we put a nightcap?
Real quickly, it's not it's not something that I ever talk about too much, but I actually mentioned it to you beforehand, before we started. There is something that runs in my family, and I know it's affected your family. But women in my family tend to suffer from cancer. Typically starts as like breast cancer. And my oldest sister just had a double mastectomy. And I'm sure she probably doesn't want me throwing that out there too much. But, it goes to the point of men, women, all of you. There are risks to people out there, and you need to make sure you're getting checked for stuff. Because if you stop it early enough, you can be okay. No matter what you physically think happened, they can fix all of that nowadays. So that's going on. It's been in my family. It's actually a scare that I had at one point when I was younger. I thought I had, because it runs in my family so much, I got lipomas, and I thought they were cancer, and I freaked out, and I called my dad, and I was like, I'm dying, I'm fucking dead. And then they were like, it's their lipomas, bitch, quit crying. Not cancerous, pussy. But yeah, that is something that I think is important to me, because it's so prevalent in my family. It's a scare. My family is full of women somehow. I am the only male. So far. Yeah. So it worries me. And I know it affects a lot of people.
Intergender champion.
I will be the intergender champion. I'm coming for that fucking belt.
Forgive me. I should not be making jokes while you're sorry.
Dude, it's something that affects a lot of people. I know it's affected you in a massive way. That's another dark story, though, if you really want to talk about it, like how there's so much money in cancer. Yeah.
It's one of the things that, like, black pill, dude, when my mom died, I was, like, fucking angry, because I was like, there's so much money in the therapeutic, but there's no, do people legitimately want to cure this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's just so much money in chemotherapy. There's so much money in the surgeries. There's so much money in this whole process. But you just kind of hold out hope and hope to God that, like, maybe there's, like, the right people in the right circumstances that do kind of like bridge that gap.
Well, AIDS could have been resolved a lot sooner if Fauci would have got the fuck out of the way.
Yeah,
that's the thing. A lot of you young people don't know.
Yeah,
Fauci botched the AIDS epidemic, and Magic Johnson,
still alive,
is the one that went against the whole recommendations and is the one that proved that what he said worked.
Yeah, history repeats itself. Kris, I appreciate you, man. Sorry that it took 141 episodes to get you on.
That's the best number there is.
All right, brother.
I appreciate you.